Preparing to go live.
That's your, yeah, I put them on, it's a really big 5,000.
Preparing to go live.
And his daughter apparently is living, is gonna be keeping one of the houses. And then the rest of them.
And we're live, okay.
Good morning, everyone. We'll get started. I'm calling the Committee of Adjustment meeting to order at 9:04. And could I please have a roll call?
Mayor LaValle.
Yeah.
Counselor Collins.
Here.
Counselor Florent.
Here.
Counselor Kuyak.
Here.
Counselor Pija.
Here.
Counselor Rodnick.
Here.
Counselor Sack.
Here. I'll begin with the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin and Ishpemabek people, specifically the Madawaska people. People of the Madawaska River. We further acknowledge that the Algonquin people have been stewards of this land since time immemorial, and we strive to treat the land along with the flora and fauna it supports, their people, their customs and traditions with honor and respect. Today, this area is home to people of all walks of life, and we acknowledge the shared opportunities and responsibilities to live, work, and survive within this beautiful territory. Chief McWitch, all my relations. Are there any additions or amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, could I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Seeing none, I will call for the adoption of the minutes of November 21st, 2024. The minutes were approved, or sorry, in the package, sorry. Just need a mover and a seconder.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. We are in the public hearing portion of this, and I don't see anybody has joined us yet.
Just checking email there. That's okay. Carry on.
This is to consider a minor variance application 2025-001. And the land is Lyle Plan M381 Lot 6. The civic address is 46 Lakeside Lane. And I will now pass it over to Tracy, our planner.
Good morning. So the meeting of the Committee of Adjustment is to consider the application as said by Councillor Kuyak. And it's in the geographic township of Lyle, and it's on Lyle Lake, also known as Cross Lake, but I'll refer to it as Lyle Lake. The subject property is currently approved with a cottage, a pump house, 2 sheds, one of which is proposed to be removed. And the application proposes to construct a new 2-story detached garage with a 2nd floor living space at the southwest of the existing cottage. The property is zoned shoreline residential in the comprehensive zoning bylaw. And the application proposes the garage to be 130 square feet or square meters and a height of 6 meters, and it'll be set back from the water 86 meters. And the proposed 2nd floor living space would be a floor area of 96.5 square meters. There is a variance requested to section 4.1 of the zoning bylaw to allow for 6 meters. Currently, the minimum height is 4.5. The application did say 5.8 meters, but the planners did increase it to 6 meters to allow room during construction, just to give them some little bit of area to play with. And then section 4.1.10, there's relief to that as well, because only 1.5 story detached garage is permitted, and they're requesting a 2-story. Excuse me. 4.1.11, so there's 3 variances being requested here. as to allow one guest cabin or one two-story detached garage where only one guest cabin or one and a half story detached garage shall be permitted. So those three variances are requested to allow for the construction of this detached garage. The requirement to hold this meeting is that there must be 10 days notice per the Planning Act, and the notices were distributed by either mail or email to the property owners within 60 meters of the subject property and any agencies that may have an interest of the lands. And they were sent out on May 1st. The notice signs were posted on the property on May 12th by the applicant. And any comments from the planner were provided in the planner's report that was circulated, and there was no public comments received. So the recommendation per the planner's report is that you approve the minor variance subject to conditions. And the application was evaluated against the 4 tests per 45(1) of the Planning Act. And it was concluded that the application met the said tests and should be approved. But they would request that the septic size and location to ensure that it meets the Building Code Act standards building code standards and can accommodate the increased flow of the development, and that the construction is in accordance with the plans prepared by Discovery Dream Homes. That was also circulated, and the planner's report and the payment of municipal legal and planning fees be paid prior to approval. So is there any questions or anything? The applicant was to be here. I don't see them yet, so I can answer as much as I can. Councilor Flynn?
I have some comments rather than questions. The map is misleading because it shows a proposed cottage. It doesn't say that there's an existing cottage or where it is in relation to any of the other stuff on the map. It's like a proposed cottage would be a different application. It's not in this application, so I don't even know why it's in the drawing.
Yeah, I think the intention is to demolish the existing cottage and rebuild in that same footprint, and then they would like to stay in the garage, the second floor of the garage while that construction is being done.
Well, the way the map is, there isn't an existing cabin,
Garage, yeah.
so you can't build an auxiliary building if you don't have a primary building.
On the CGIS mapping, there is an existing cottage there. Confirm that.
But how are we, as sitting around this table, supposed to know that?
Can pull it up. Edward,
No, that's not necessary, just,
for future.
I think the application isn't complete. I'm not going to hold it up, but, you know, if it's somebody that's in the business of building homes, you'd think they would know how to put a proposal
Put
together.
put the existing on there as
I
well.
can vouch that there is an existing cottage there because I drive by it every day. Another job that I'm working on Cross Lake, so.
I know where this is.
Can we maybe just discuss each of the variances, as there are 3?
Mhm.
So the maximum height of an accessory building or structure shall be 7 meters, except in SR, LSR and R2. And it says 4.5. Now, you were saying that they are wanting to go to 6,
They want to go to 5.8.
5.8.
But the planner has requested they go, or has suggested that they go to 6 for us to allow 6, just to give them that little bit of legal room in case they need it during construction.
Okay. And obviously, well, it is a variance, so, or it wouldn't be here. Is that an issue with anybody sitting at the table, that they go up higher than proposed?
As long
Or,
as it's not blocking anybody else's view.
right,
In this case, like, the entrance to that garage is probably close to 100 feet above the water level. It's a long ways down to the water level. So it's not blocking anybody's view at all. In fact, I don't think you could see it from the water.
Probably not.
Not once the trees are leafed up again.
Yeah, the heights don't fall.
And if you look at the next one, in the use of accessory building or structure. And I do know that we have already sort of okayed one prior to, but this one has a kitchen. But no, sorry, it has a bathroom, no kitchen,
Right.
right? And that is according to our
Yeah,
comprehensive
yeah.
zoning.
so they're trying to stay within the guest cabin criteria,
Right.
but it'd be on a second story
All
garage.
right, and because we don't, I know on the picture there, sorry, I have to scroll. That there is an existing septic system, right?
Yes,
And that obviously is at this point servicing the cabin.
right,
And will it be large enough to service both? Is that?
and that's the condition that they recommend, is to ensure it can meet that capacity.
I actually know the applicants here, and it's basically their children have grown up a little bit and they want to give them some space that's not in the cottage with them. So I think the number of people increase is not the issue here. It's just they've grown up and want a little bit more space themselves and the kids to have a bit of space as they're young adults now.
So this isn't an Airbnb? It's,
No,
the-
oh,
for
most definitely
personal
not.
Use
Yeah,
only?
it's for their family.
Okay.
They're from Ohio, I believe, the applicants.
It's interesting that it shows where the weeping bed for the septic system is, but doesn't show where the tank is. I suspect the tank is somewhere down by that
Cottage?
cottage and it's pumped up the hill. So how will that, well, I guess that's Mike's jurisdiction after.
To figure out what's going on. Yeah, I was looking around to see where everything was. And it's definitely gotta be pumped up the hill. For sure.
Yeah, because the train is pretty steep.
Yeah, so it's gonna go down the hill to go up the,
Yeah.
it'd be better to put another tank in, wouldn't it? Can you have two tanks in the same system?
No, I don't think it'd be necessary, right? But yeah, I don't know, so that's gonna be part of the.
That'll be part of that.
That's part of the
Review,
application,
yeah.
for sure.
I don't have any problems with this, but I do have to agree with Councilor Ford in that it's not showing us
The existing.
the existing. It's already a step ahead of the process.
But it's the same footprint that they're planning on
I
using.
think so, yeah, it's my understanding of that.
And the conditions are outlined there, right?
Yeah, and I'll go over them again. Once we go to the next stage. So is there anything else? It's okay. Is that good? Yeah, so I'm gonna ask for a motion, to approve the decision for minor variance 2025-001.
I'll propose that.
I'll second.
That the Committee of Adjustment approved the recommendations and conditions outlined in the planner's report prepared by Anthony Homick and Janine Zick of JPTG Consultants. And in making the decision upon the application, the committee has considered whether or not the variance requested was minor and desirable for the appropriate development, and that the general intent of and purpose of the zoning bylaw and the official plan will be maintained. Therefore, the Committee of Adjustment grant the minor variance application number MV 2025-001, subject to the following conditions. That the applicant provide verification of the septic size and location to confirm that the existing septic system meets Ontario Building Code standards and can accommodate the increased flows from the additional use on the property. That the approved development be constructed substantially in accordance with the plans prepared by Discovery Dream Homes dated April 24th, 2025. And that payment of all municipal, legal, and planning fees associated with the processing of the application. Any discussion, comments, any conditions? Okay, so now call upon a vote. Mayor LaValle,
Yes.
Councillor Collins,
Absolutely, yes.
Councillor Florent,
Or,
Councillor Kuyak,
Yes,
Councillor Pijot,
Yep.
Councillor Rodnick,
yeah,
Councillor Sidak.
Yes.
So it's accepted with conditions. And I will now turn it on over to Councillor. Yeah.
seeing that there is no other business today, we will adjourn and the next meeting will be scheduled as required.
I think, I have one scheduled for June. Of course, it depends on where the next review goes smoothly.
Great. Thank
And
you,
that is
Evelyn.
June, when, do we know?
18th, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So an adjournment, then,
Adjourned at 9:20.
can I have?
I'll have take a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
I'll second.
9:20 adjournment. Good. Thank you, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. We have welcome to Human Resources Admin and Public Relations Committee meeting, and we are commencing this meeting at 9:22. We have already done our land acknowledgement this morning, so our meeting is open. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mayor LaValle,
Yeah.
Councillor Collins,
Here.
Councillor Florent,
Here.
Councillor Kuyak,
Here.
Councillor Pijot,
Here.
Councillor Rodnick,
Here.
and Councillor Sidak.
Here.
Thank you. Before we continue, are there any additions or amendments to the posted agenda? None noted. Can I have an adoption of the agenda, please?
I'll move to adopt the agenda.
Thank you, councillor Florent,
I'll
and second.
it.
Thank you, councillor Rodnick. Are there any, or is there anybody that wants to disclose a pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? None noted. And I will pass over to Erin Thompson of McKillican and Associates with our 2024 financial report. Erin, over to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you for having me today. I'm just gonna go over some of the financial statement high level areas. If there's any questions, feel free to ask as I'm going through and do our best to answer those questions. So start with the financials. The second page is the management responsibility. There's been no change in that. Identifies that the consolidated financial statements are the responsibility of management, and it's prepared in accordance with the Canadian Public Sector Accounting Standards. And then if you flip to the page that's labeled page 1, it's the auditor's report. There's been no change in the auditor's report over the last however many years. It still has the 4 paragraphs, the opinion paragraph. It says the township statements have been audited and that in our opinion, the financial statements are presented fairly. And then the basis for the opinion, that's done in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards. And again, there's the responsibility of management and those charged with governance for the financial statements. And lastly, the auditor's responsibility for the audit of the financial statements. So it's our responsibility to express an opinion, and that the audit was conducted with Canadian generally accepted auditing standards. I'm gonna flip to the statement of financial position. It's labeled page 3. And I'm gonna go over this on a line-by-line basis. If there's any questions, like I said, feel free to ask. The cash balance is up from last year by 143,000. There's various reasons. One of the big reasons is there was some grant money received that's been deferred for future projects. There's a couple of grants there, and we'll get to that in the deferred revenue side as well. And we'll also look at the detailed cash flow at a later time. So the tax receivable are up by 68,000 from last year. Of that, 75% of it is the current year. So there's been no concern on uncollectible receivables or any history of uncollectible receivables. The accounts receivable is up by about 18,000. One reason for that would be there's a federal grant that is receivable at year end that has not been in the prior year. And the investments, they're up $6,000. There was an additional GIC purchased this year for 5,000, and then there's also interest. The accounts payable and accrued liabilities, they've decreased by 118,000. Last year, at the end of the year, there were some larger balances, some of it due to capital projects that were outstanding at the end of the year, and a few social services payment and some other accruals. So that's come down from the year before. And as I noted, the deferred revenue, the obligatory reserves, so it's increased by 215,000. It's made up of the gas tax, the Norwich grant, and the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund. So those have been deferred for future roads and construction projects that are expected to be used in the near future. The change in the asset retirement obligation, it's gone up by 83,000 based on the estimates provided by the engineers for us to estimate the cost at this time. The tangible capital assets, they've decreased by 202,000. That's due to the amortization exceeding the capital acquisitions for the year. And the inventory of supplies, so it's increased by 33,000, mainly related to the increase in salt and sand at the end of the year. The prepaid expenses, they're down $10,000. They include license plate renewals, insurance, conference registrations. And then the accumulated surplus, so the equity and tangible capital assets. So as I noted, that's down by 200,000 as the amortization exceeded the capital acquisitions. And the reserves have increased from the prior year for a net of 163,000. So that includes the any reserve used and then reserves and then money transferred to reserves. And the unfunded asset retirement obligation, as I noted, that's gone up based on the engineer estimated costs at the time. Any questions on the statement of financial position?
Couple acquisitions.
Yeah.
And what did we buy? Is that the truck?
So there's a few things, so you'll see the acquisitions on, just a little bit of a breakdown on page 6. Just at the bottom there. So there was a couple of things, there was some drainage done, as well as some re-graveling, and then there was some road work. And a gazebo and a side-by-side for the fire. And then there's some landfill debris as well. Okay. The statement of operations, there's a consolidated one on page 4 that would include the library, the closure, post-closure costs and some other things. So I'm gonna flip over to page 17. It's the general surplus, so it just gives a better picture of how the township did, taking out some of the extras. And I'm just gonna go through that. So it's labeled page 17. Maybe look at it.
21 in your package.
So the municipal taxes, they're over budget by the $12,000. That's mainly related to the supplements that aren't budgeted for, as it's unknown at the time of budgeting what that's gonna be. So the Ontario grants are under budget, by about 37,000. Some of the grants that we're expected to use were deferred this year as well. There is a grant applied for and budgeted, but not received during the year. And the Canada grants, it's over budget, as a grant was received that wasn't budgeted for. And then the other revenues, it's over budget by $30,000. Some of it related to various things, like interest income is higher due to higher rates. Planner fees and fundraising was up, and septic permits were also up. So the general government expenses, they're over budget by about 84,000 for various costs, including salaries and wages, seminars and conferences, and consultant fees related to the economic development plan. The protection to persons, they're comparable to budget. That includes like your fire and control and your building inspections. Transportation services, it's under budget by about 300,000. So the biggest reason for those is some of the wages and equipment costs were capitalized this year as part of the capital projects versus being expensed on the operating side. Environmental services, it's under budget by 42,000 and relates to disposal wages being under, garbage compactor repairs under, and storm wages, and some hazardous waste and motor repairs are also under budget. Health services it's comparable budget. That includes your ambulance costs and your cost for a local health unit. The social services, it's very close to budget, includes the amounts paid to your social services board and your old age home. Your recreational and cultural services, there's a difference it's over budget by about 20,000, mainly relates to like increasing wages and fundraising expenses. And your planning and development, it's over budget by about $6,000. Includes your planning wages and costs associated with the official plan was up, and then supplies were under budget. So a net of about 6,000. At the bottom there's a transfer to the library board, 78,000. And then transfer to and from reserves, the net of 184,000. And the transfer from and to equity and tangible capital assets is $197,735. If there's any questions on the schedule of operations. I'm gonna skip over to, this says page 6. The consolidated statement of cash flows. Just gives you a better breakdown of the cash that was spent and received. Thank you. Sorry. So you'll see there, the cash flow from operating activities is 481,000 from the changes in the working capital balances. The biggest increase would be your deferred revenue that we touched on, just the grants that were received but not spent. It's deferred for some future projects. And then the biggest decrease there was 118,000 with the accounts payable. There was some large payables from the year before that were paid down. And then the cash flow used for capital activities, the 330,000, that's the breakdown of your capital purchases by department. And we touched on that. So an overall increase of 150,000 in cash. And then one other statement that I just wanted to touch on was it's page 16. What it is in the package.
Page 20 in the package.
Okay, thank you. It's just the library, so here's the library and the cash and bank and the amount due from municipality. As well, there's tangible capital assets that's made up of their furniture and pictures, their laptops that are used within the library. And then you'll see that there was a deficit of 25,000, mainly related to the wages and benefits over budget for the year. So the rest of it is mostly notes that helps better understand in more detail of the financial statements. So I'm not going to go through all the notes, but if there's any questions or concerns, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Just going back to the wages that were over budget,
Yeah.
was that because of the like new grant? But portion of her wage or of her job description?
Jen?
I wouldn't be falling under the administration, but
I just didn't know where that was.
Like for the library?
She,
Or for,
she does as well, she does grant writing for us.
Okay.
It's a new
okay,
job.
right.
So, you know, I didn't know where that was, if that
I'm
was
not sure
part
it
of that.
explains the increase completely. We can get back to you on that.
Right, it would be interesting to know what we're paying, I guess, for
Sure,
the grant writing. Yeah, no kidding.
yeah. There was a surplus this year that was transferred to reserves for some of your future projects.
part of that, Joan, with the wages is actually some of Tracy's work within administration, where initially we had budgeted more in the planning area. She's spending more time in the administration. So, if you look at the planning, it's likely under budget.
And we've got this in the library board section. We've got a difference of, well, virtually 20,000 there. 20 odd thousand.
Oh, sorry, but you're in the library.
But I think that's what we're questioning, why there is a difference of a budgeted for 61,500 and an actual of 88,395.
I think some of that was that the board extended the hours at the libraries last year as well. And I think that was done post the approval of the budget. So some of that may be there. I mean, if you'd like us to go dig that a little deeper, we can certainly bring that back at another time.
27,000 is quite a chunk over budget.
So all in all, we're good. We're good.
Does anybody else have any other questions of Erin?
I just want to say thank you very, very much to everyone that's involved in preparing this budget and bringing us, where we're at in terms of a township. And you know, it's a lot of work where you can take only 10 minutes and go over it, so I much appreciate it to all of you. And I'm not sure under my new powers whether I'm gonna have to present this or not next year. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Just a
Good
quick,
luck if you do.
just a quick note on those wages and benefits. If you look at the 2023 actual, there's only a $9,000 disparity between the library. So there may have been an error when they did the calculation on the budget because we received that from them, right?
Okay,
So yeah, they had 79,795 in 2023 and 88,395 in 2024. So there's a $9,000 difference is all the differences year over year.
so the budgeted amount of the 61,500
Is
was
probably where the
possibly
error
an error.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds more reasonable.
Although it would still be nice to know where her grant writing portion of how much that has been.
I guess just to my question, like, if I may.
Please go ahead.
On a whole, and you know, you obviously do other townships.
Sure.
Would you say that on a whole, as a township of South Algonquin, we're doing fairly well, or good well, or not well?
Yeah, it looks good. There's no debt. So that's something that's, you know, a lot of townships have debt. It's not a bad thing, but, and on top of that, you also have a surplus moving to reserves this year to help for future projects. So, it's looking good at this point, and the budgets are usually pretty close. I think Jen and Brian keep a pretty good eye on the budget. So they're usually, I mean, you can tell in the statements, some of them are really, really close, you know?
Yeah,
So I think they keep a pretty good eye on some of that stuff.
thanks.
That's good.
Okay,
Concur. They do a pretty darn good job keeping things on.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
yes, that's what I was about to say there. Thank you, Erin, for this, but I think a lot of thanks to Jen as well and Brian for bringing this forward and having it ready for you to audit. Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's a team effort. There's a number of people that help to keep things in line with us, so staff are very diligent at trying to buy what they need and not what they don't need, and trying to manage the cost of what they have to buy.
At the end of the day, it's other people's money we're working with, isn't it?
That's right.
So I think fiscal responsibility is very important. Okay, thank you very, very much.
Have a good
Appreciate
day.
it. Let's move swiftly on. Charlene, do we have you online here for your report, please?
Good morning, everyone.
Can't hear you, Charlene.
Can you hear me now?
Still can't hear you.
Oh,
We can see you.
how about now?
No, still not.
It's her earphones. It's to
Charlene, we're not hearing you at all. Maybe it's your headset.
TV turned on.
She can hear us. Yeah, everything's up, Trace. Volume's up and everything.
She on mute?
No?
She unmuted.
Give me 1 second.
We got it pretty loud now. No.
Try again, Charlie.
Oh,
Somebody's trying
1
to-
sec.
She is. I think we got you.
I think we're hearing you loud and clear now, Charlene. Thank you.
Oh, you can hear me now?
We can.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure what was happening there.
Yeah, us neither. The reports and the minutes and the grant writing report. Could you just give us a précis of those, please? I'm sure everybody's read them, but
Excuse me, and I did want to add on to our upcoming program, the Astronomy in Action. We did need to request a motion to move money out of library reserve to cover that program. And we would need that the payment due to the astronomy folks is needed by June 5th, the day of the program.
okay. We will get Jen and Brian onto dealing with that for us. I think it's a fantastic program and a wonderful thing that you're doing, and I hope it's very well attended. It's something, unfortunately, I cannot be there. I've got a prior appointment, but it was something that I would have looked forward to most definitely.
Absolutely. We're very excited about that. And as of yesterday, we had 42 spots out of 60 booked for the evening show. There was a slight change in I can't even think of the word, sorry. But now we have a bigger dome coming, so there'll only be one show in the afternoon and one in the evening. Same experience, just different, a bit bigger of dimensions. And I've applied and received a permit for the after-hour school use. So yeah, full steam ahead, very exciting.
Thank you. You was about to say, Tracy?
Yeah, so I think at this point, if we get a consensus that the committee is okay with the reserve transfer, and then we can bring a resolution back, just so Charlene can proceed. And then we can bring a resolution back at the June meeting. If that's in agreement with everybody.
Can I have a show of hands? Are we all in agreement with moving this reserve? Yep, unanimous there, Charlene. So
Wonderful,
that
thank
shouldn't be
you.
an issue. Okay, thank you. The board meeting minutes, anything alarming there?
I'm just flipping through my copy here. Well, I will mention that at our last meeting, one of our board members is resigning. So Jeff Bowman's last meeting will be in June with us. So I'm currently working on some new documents, onboarding documents for new board members. We're going to do a bit of a campaign to try to get a few new faces, because right now we've been operating at 5 members and now we'll be down to 4. And 2 of those remaining have also been hinting towards retirement from us. So we need to do a campaign, I guess is the right word, to boost our board members.
Recruitment, yes. Okay. And if anyone's interested to speak with you directly,
Yes, please.
I
And
do
soon
know
I'll be, sorry.
Sorry, I do know of someone who's very interested, but she is here 3 weeks out of 4, and has a home down in the south, but actually lives here 3 weeks out of 4. Would you consider that?
There is some regulations under the Libraries Act. If she is a permanent resident, so if her ID states South Algonquin is her home, then that meets one of the Library Act's requirements. But that's it's a tricky thing. They have to be over 18, not employed by the township or the library, and they must be a permanent resident so that they can best reflect our residents.
That
So
would
it
be
makes it a little bit
discretionary.
tricky.
That would be
Sorry?
discretionary then. 3 weeks out of 4, that seems more permanent than 1 week out of 4 at the other address. So
It comes down to their ID as well for when they run the police
okay.
checks. So if their ID is set at their other home out of the town, that's classified as their permanent residence.
Okay, I will speak to the person I'll speak to them directly and see what we can do about that. They would be a very good asset. So thank
Thank
you.
you. And it has been a bit of a difficulty because the last few years, quite a bit of the interest that has come to me regarding the board have been temporary residents. And they're only here a couple months of the year. And so that doesn't really reflect our residents as well. But I wish there was a few new changes in that area. It does make it tricky for recruitment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And
Thank you.
on to the last part there, your grant writing.
Yes.
How are we doing?
We're doing all right. We're still waiting for movement and approval for the NOHFC grant for resurfacing the Lester Smith rink. That is still waiting. Both of our fire department grants have come through and the monies have been received, and Arel is working on those purchases. We received a grant for one summer student for this year. We've received our Kennedy funding in the amount of $3,020 split between the two committees. The OTF grant for the township privy upgrades, we're still waiting for approval on that. And there's the senior community grant that I applied for the 2 bus excursions is currently still under review as well. And the newest one added, I just started working on yesterday, is another NOHFC grant for workforce development for a community development position. So I just got into that and just getting started on that one.
Can you explain a little bit of that one to us, please?
I literally have just read through the information once so far, so I'm very early. I don't know if Brian maybe to add to that.
That's, yeah, I can to some degree. In accordance with the community tourism and economic development master plan, one of the issues identified was the need for a body to help manage those activities. And as part of our budget deliberations this year, we allowed for some funding there. They will, Bednor will pay up to $40,000 towards the employment costs of an individual for those purposes. So we're seeing if we can get grant funding for that purpose from them.
And that would be just for a year, or?
That's the initial year, right? That's the trial period, and then it's up to us to determine whether or not we wish to continue or if there's other grant funding available to continue. But we do have the opportunity to get 1 year from them.
Okay. And that's the one you're working on now. Thank you, Charlene.
Yeah.
Keep us updated about that. It's quite important.
Absolutely. And just to add to that, one thing I did see though is there is a possibility of adding a 2nd-year internship further along. Like once we're in the 1st year, there is a chance to reapply to extend it for a 2nd year. That I did see.
That would be more attractive for somebody applying for a position, I would have thought. So thank you. Does anybody else have questions of Charlene here?
That grant application for that employee, the amount of the grant certainly wouldn't cover 100% of the wages unless it's a part-time job.
It is, the terms are, they'll cover 90% up to 35,000. It is for 52 weeks at a minimum of 35 hours per week. And I was going to be reaching out to Brian later today to determine what that wage amount would be at. And it is geared towards younger people or underemployed people. But I will have more information coming out a little later today once I start digging into it a bit more.
Okay, because that isn't a full-time salary, a full-time wage for anybody.
We have allocated 25,000 in our budgets for
Okay.
economic development this year to help towards that cost.
Okay, so that brings it up to something near to acceptable for a young person starting out, I presume, yeah. Okay, thank you. If there's no further questions. No, Charlene, thank you, Charlene. Have a good day and carry
Thank
on the
you.
good work, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Over to Arel Tom, our fire chief, please.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. You've been doing your rain dance again,
I
yeah?
love it.
Yeah,
No grass fires.
wonderful. Shh. Don't say no. Keep on raining, I think that's your
Yeah.
mantra, yeah.
Yeah, Sumi's all read my report. I don't know if there's any questions or not, but I do have two applications out for people from Madawaska that's required to get on the fire department, but haven't heard back from them yet.
That's exciting.
How many, how many are you short?
I think only one, but there's one or two. The attendance is horrible, so I have to get rid of the contract. I hate to do, but
Okay, is there anything you want to make us aware of or?
really, it's all,
I have a question, and it's an ongoing question for years and years and years. I see we have at least 3 responses to trees on hydro lines.
yes.
Do we get any money from Hydro One for those responses?
We haven't, but I know other side of the park. I'm gonna get talking to him in Huntsville if he was there. And he somehow puts in the cost recovery, what do you call it? There's a line item for fee schedule. He actually has in there for trees on hydro lines. Apparently Hydro will pay as long as that's in a fee schedule somewhere. So that's something that's going on. I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot about that. Yeah. That's something that should maybe be looked into,
So
put in place.
the township has to have that cost in their schedule of fees.
Yeah, like your fire department for us to respond. I think in the Golden Park, as long as we notify the duty officer that we're getting a call there. Remember John Schwick had paid for that call as well.
Yeah, but these are on calls within the actual township.
I'm just saying in Golden Park, they kind of, as long as you let them know, apparently they will reimburse you. We had one there, I think last week, the last storm that went through, and they never did find the call, so.
Yeah, I see 3 of them in your report here on April the 29th.
Yeah, that, when that storm went through, yeah.
And to my knowledge, you can actually sit there for quite a while for Hydro One to come along and disconnect before you can do anything. So that's a lot of man hours and those are being paid for by us, the township.
Yeah,
So
he's actually fair because they kind of burnt off and it went out, so they just left.
yeah, cost recovery would be useful here.
Yes, for sure, yeah.
That, we could bring forward a resolution on that to, and I would suggest that because we do use MTO rates for that stuff anyway,
Yes.
that we just simply bring forward a resolution that identifies that hydro line, anytime the guys respond to it, that we'll be charging MTO rates.
Yeah.
And that resolution then would be sufficient, I would expect, for submission to hydro.
I would assume so, yeah.
And then that could be done in the interim, but I think that schedule fees that has to be updated anyway. That's on my radar, so we could add that,
Okay,
do a resolution now to get it moving, but then add.
yeah. Added in,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, perfect, yeah.
It's been a topic of discussion for
Forever, yeah.
I'm making note of that then.
When your
So,
guys are sitting there, they can't be responding to fires if there actually is one.
well, it ties up at least 1 vehicle and 2 or 3 men.
okay, I have one other question, and I think I have spoken to you about it before. The day-to-day running of the Madawaska Hall shouldn't be falling to you. Your job is an overall see of the department in, as I see things. And I don't believe anybody is taking on the responsibility of the day-to-day running of that Madawaska Hall. Whitney seems to be taken care of. deputy chief side up there seem to be doing an excellent job down there. Do we have anybody in Madawaska that could step up to the plate?
We went through that before,
Mhm.
this one, I was like, I know, like, I do most of that, like all the paperwork, etc. But when Ian was a chief, he was doing a lot of training as well.
Yes,
So that's why he asked me to do a lot of that stuff for him as well. So I don't know if it's really justified now if you need it or not. Cause like there is 3 captains that get something does, but I don't think I can ask around. I don't think any of them are really interested in the next level.
it seems to me that you're being bogged down with the day-to-day running and that's not your role. You've got enough on your plate with the legislation and paperwork and equipment, etc. It should be someone is taking responsibility and things will, I guess, slip when there's no one person taking pride and responsibility in that hall. What does the rest of council think about this? Joe, do you have a thoughts on here?
I kind of agree with you. When it was brought up before, the chief didn't think that it was required because his office is in the Madawaska Hall, but I understand the protocol, and I think you should have somebody that's deputy chief or station chief or whatever you want to call them, in charge of the day-to-day operation, like to make sure that the maintenance is done on the vehicles on time. Like it shouldn't be your job to. It's your job ultimately to make sure that the other, whoever you
Yeah.
designate does his job, so it's kind of a double thing, but. I agree that there should be somebody in charge of the Madawaska station other than you. Your job is more executive, sitting behind a desk and, administration. And to be honest, that's your physical limitations as well.
Yes, yeah,
So, I really think you should have somebody in the works, at least whether he's designated tomorrow or not is another thing, but.
Any good candidates?
most of the ones they're pretty much, almost out the door as well, retirement ages, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other problem, but to start proving someone for that job, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
as I see it, the Whitney Hall, I mean, even their pancake breakfast stem from their deputy chief organise it. I know they've been doing it a long time,
Yeah.
but initiatives and things, a little bit of fundraising, but it shouldn't be down to you managing that hall and being fire chief of the whole department. A little bit of a
And
pride for the hall and the overall responsibility is obviously yours, but that's as I see it.
If I can point out one more thing, because you're also the emergency management coordinator, you could be tied up on that job. In an emergency situation where you wouldn't have a clue what's going on at the station level. And there should be somebody in charge of that thing.
I know Hopkins would have to step up, or Marvin as a deputy up here as well,
Yeah,
because it is for the township, right? It's not just a Whitney or Madawaska thing, but yeah.
but we
I
did
understand what you're
have
saying.
2 station chiefs and a chief before,
Mhm.
and the one is vacant.
Was there a reason we didn't, fill that when you stepped into the chief role?
I don't really think there was a reason why, it just. So I was doing a lot of it when he was there,
Yeah,
submitting reports and so I just kind of carried that all over with everything else as well.
Can we internally advertise within the department, the whole department? It may be someone down at Whitney would like to take on that deputy chief's role, if not in Madawaska Hall. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You've got some new people there now. Is it something that you consider, or we're suggesting that you put an internal application
It's up
in
to
and?
council if he's want that.
What do you think we need?
Cause I'm doing it now, but if,
Well, okay.
Yeah.
We're trying to get you away from doing.
okay, yeah, well, if, sure. I don't really know what to say, but the council, it's not necessary, but
Well, why don't you go back and think about it and
okay, yeah. I
see
do.
if that's something that needs to happen?
Yeah, because if you put someone in that position and they're not doing it, like it's. I'm sure there would probably someone who step up for it, you know. Hopefully someone younger. But yeah, because you don't want someone in there just going to be there 2 or 3 years and then leave, and it's.
Okay, does anyone else have anything for around?
I have a question for both the fire chief and Councillor Rodnick, concerning, with fire suppression,
Yes.
for water access only. I know Whalen Lake has got multiple portable pumps, 7 portable pumps. Were the portable pumps purchased via fundraising or was through the township? Because this happened a couple of years ago.
The townships helped with the purchase of the last pump. All the other ones previously were purchased by the cottagers association.
Okay, that was my question, because that was brought to my attention a couple of weeks ago by somebody that's the association.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, my recollection is we made a small donation towards the cost of the last pump that they purchased, but all the other ones were purchased by the
By the
association.
associations themselves, okay.
They have a map done up and everything where they're situated on the
Yes.
lake.
Because that was about 3 years ago, Joe?
Yeah, but there's some history behind that. At one time, there was an affiliation between the responders at Allen Lake and the fire department. And the fire department actually had a couple of pumps and some hose at that bunker that's on the line. Is it still there? They were talking about removing that bunker.
No, it's still there. Ian went down.
But there was a problem with our insurers because they weren't trained firefighters and we were giving them equipment. So
That's right.
actually, some of the equipment ended up back in Madawaska, I think it came to.
Not since I've been around that I know.
When I was chief, which is like 20 years ago or more, we did conduct some mutual training on the dock on pump operations and hose supplies and things. Again, it got vetoed because of the requirement that they weren't really firefighters. They had no equipment, some, like they showed up in running shoes. They show up, what cottagers show up in? You know, running shoes and shorts and so we had to kind of separate the municipal fire department from, wow. It's too bad. I still don't really agree with it. I understand why, but I don't agree with it.
I think when Ian was chief, they have a retired firefighter as part of the community down there, don't they? Who did a little bit of coordination, and Ian went by boat and visited the various pumps, the water access pumps, to make sure that the people whose property they were on were able to use them, if not other people. And that was very successful, and they were very diligent with, they run them up, they made sure they've got fresh gas and.
Yeah, they were supposed to do a training session just this past weekend, but because of the weather, they canceled.
Oh, okay, so they are on board with this still, yeah, which is good.
Who's doing the training?
Bruce Dick?
Bruce Dick.
And he's the retired full-time.
No,
he's
he's not
not.
fire department.
He's been there forever.
He's been there forever. And Martin, because father his last name Monroe, the two of them are what they call their fire coordinators.
Okay,
So they're responsible for making sure everybody gets the training. Guess they're running the pumps now, getting them up to speed, putting fresh gas in them, those type of things.
Yeah, they do a good job down there,
Yeah.
actually.
My next door neighbor actually, well, Joe Vermeer,
yes,
he's a retired.
of course he is, yeah. Yeah,
Okay, so the township has no association with the
Not-
fire suppression? for
not
water access
officially.
only? Not officially.
Well, that wage axe that was in there, was it sold to the college association in the lake, or did it come back to the firemen?
I think it stayed there.
Well, I
It
think
did
one,
something.
yeah, that they had one of those, but I don't think I think that was the one that got replaced.
We had a 20 horse portable there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want they're It's mostly Honda generators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're easier to run.
Okay, thanks for answering that question.
Okay, thank you, Earl. Carry on raining.
I have.
Oh,
I just
sorry,
want-
Mela
no-
Valley.
No problem. I just wanted to ask you to pass on our thanks to the Great Mother's Day breakfast. I think it was really well attended, it looked like to me. And, was
said-
good.
Said they were down about 15 people from last year, but I couldn't make it, but I had other things on the go, but yeah, I did donate. Yeah,
No,
yeah, I heard a lot of good comments about it, so that's good, that's good.
Maybe another event like that could become an annual thing. Maybe the Madawaska end of town, yeah, if they can sort themselves out. Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
And next on our agenda is the Mike Anderson Show. Mike, can we have you up, please?
Sure. See, everybody likes to turn the barrel.
And you've given us a quite comprehensive report there.
Yes, just summary of last year, the amount of permits we've issued, both septic and building, and did some bylaw enforcement issues that seem to be reappearing, mostly dog control, animal control. That's ongoing. I'm currently drafted a new animal control bylaw, which is a little bit more tailored to our needs. And it will have a table of fees for offenses as well as repeat offenses. It's being under review right now by staff. So
that'll be coming forward very soon, yes?
I'm hoping that we can get it in one of the council meetings coming up shortly.
Okay, and I'm sure everybody is anxious to know what's happening with regards to the enforcement with the travel trailer issue, because we know that down the 523 in the area on Bark Lake, the MNR have stepped in. There were a hell of a lot of trailers down there, and I think they're going to be a problem this year. I don't know where they're going to pitch up this year.
I know I've seen them on Peaks Point, which is
Yes.
by the, again, we're trying to figure out who has jurisdiction over that right now, whether it's the provincial government. I know we have our land use there, but we haven't got confirmation yet back from the provincial government as to who has jurisdiction.
Okay,
So there's nothing really we can do with that as of yet.
so I think we need to be on that, because that is visual for people.
Yeah.
Oh, look, there's trailers there. I'll go and join them, and we don't want that situation.
I agree.
But I do believe that there were 40 odd trailers, and they're going to want to go somewhere.
And they're going to get somewhere for sure.
Okay, and people are gonna, be pitching up their trailers all over the place, I believe, this summer.
Several other properties out 523 that I have sent letters to for non-compliance with their zoning bylaw. I see, I got response from 2. There's still 3 more that have not responded yet, so at some point in the near future, I will be releasing orders to comply on
Thank
those
you.
properties.
And the situation, can I ask, in Madawaska itself, with the containers and the trailer that's obviously being lived in and everything else right in the smacking people's faces, and right on that corner opposite the store there, what's the progress with that one?
Well, we get rid of the sea containers.
Yes,
They're gone. He seems to have moved in some other trailer. I don't think anyone's living in that trailer that I'm aware of. I never see any movement there. I don't even see any movement hardly from him in the actual house.
it seems that a small bunkie has now been built right on that property line
Well,
or something.
it's on a trailer.
Okay.
He hauled it in last fall or last summer late. It's in my eyes, an eyesore, agreed. Do we have anything in the zoning bylaw that prohibits it being on a trailer sitting there? Not really.
Okay.
I agree, it's an eyesore, that whole corner. He's been in trouble from the day he moved in there.
I mean, we have several properties within the township that have got 10, 12 boats and ATVs and everything else, that haven't moved for years, to my knowledge.
And the only way that we will ever be able to clear that up and clean it up is to pass a property standards bylaw, which in several cases in the past, it's been delayed, denied,
Okay,
whatever.
thank you. Does anybody else have questions of Mike here? I mean, the report was well received. Thank you for the report.
I do have a couple.
Please go
Just
ahead.
because this is the first, that I'm seeing this, so I see you give us a permit fee and then a value, which to me, that value, I'm not sure what
Well, that's
what
the-
should it mean to me?
The-
Let's put it that
The
way.
assessed value, is just that.
Okay.
It's what they claim on the permit as the estimated value of the project
So the revenue that's coming in is
is based on the value.
the value. And then, I see the septic, which obviously is a big thing in our area. Some of them have a $0 value to the permit fee. Is that because they either withdrew?
That was probably, in the early days of my getting used to.
Okay,
And we finally got that ironed out.
fair enough.
Sometimes, if, and we discovered this problem, they come in with a permit app and wanted to pay with debit or credit.
Right,
We take the payment and create an invoice. And therefore, when I found that when I was putting the permit value in, it was creating a second invoice
okay.
that we had to go in and take it back
Take it
in.
back in. Okay, fair enough. And, the bylaw enforcement mainly just animals, right?
Yeah, I've been working on set fines. I have received, approval back from provincial census court for, our noise bylaw as well as our parking bylaw. With set fines, I've created, I've had some ticket books created. So I'm probably not going to be
The most liked person?
very well accepted in the community in the near future. I'm also working on a parking lot bylaw as well to cover our boat launches, et cetera, because we have several issues regarding people not being able to follow signs and
Right.
so we're going to.
Well,
try and
certainly it's
sort
gonna
that
make
out
us
too.
look at signage, right, all over,
Well, we have signage there,
right,
but like this, in order
not
to
large.
obey by the signage, you need to be able to comprehend the English language.
So is it just one boat launch or is it all?
Oh, we have troubles at the moment.
Okay.
This one over here, people parking in the grass medium and
Yeah,
there's several issues.
And do we have a set fine for people overnight camping where they are literally camping beside the sign that says no overnight camping?
No, but we could probably include that perhaps in the bylaw for, boat launches and municipal.
Parking and, yeah,
property.
okay, because I think that may become an issue.
So
That ties
it
in
is.
with the trailer issue that I was talking about. Councillor Front?
Going back to Councillor Collins' mention of what I would consider salvage yards. Can we not address them without using a property standards bylaw? Like, they're not zoned to be a salvage yard, and they're very obviously are. And they're zoned residential.
Yeah, there's several of them that could possibly be addressed through the comprehensive zoning bylaw and their current zoning. Do we have any teeth? Yeah, you'd have to go to court probably. You could send them an order to comply and.
But isn't that better than doing nothing? Well, that's what we're doing now.
So, yeah. I can start sending letters. And then go and place orders to comply for non-compliance with the zoning bylaw.
I don't know how many times we brought that zoning, or not the zoning, the property standards bylaw to the table. And always, we're convinced here that it's a good thing. And then enough counselors' mind is changed by backlash from the community that it gets dropped. And sooner or later, we're gonna have a council that's fed up enough to pass it.
Well, it
I
has
agree.
just been sitting in
That's what we need. We need a property standards bylaw tailored to our community.
Mhm.
Again, mostly in the urban areas like Whitney proper and Madawaska proper. You have lots of properties that have, they look like, say, junkyards, right?
Mhm.
We have, a couple too that are running near commercial businesses and rural properties that, could be addressed as well.
Mhm.
the bylaw, in my understanding, has just been tabled, right?
It's sitting on staff radar at the moment,
Yeah.
so it is an item that needs to come back. I mean, we can certainly bring that back as quickly as council would like it.
Yeah.
And there are several properties out there that are storing more than one travel trailer, for example, which is against our stated bylaw.
Yeah, if they are not plated, not insured, and not towable, then we can do something with them. If they're sitting on someone's property and they're not being used for human habitation, there's not much we can do about it.
Even if they don't belong to the property owner.
That's a gray area, to be quite honest. If the homeowner has allowed someone to put their travel trailer on there and it's licensed and plated for the road, that would be like, I would think, infringing on that person's property ownership.
It's a moot area, I'm told.
Yeah, it's frustrating for me too.
Okay.
We're finally getting some teeth in bylaws, though.
Yes, which is good.
Yeah.
Hello, Valley.
I do have a question, Mike. Thanks for the information. I realize and I understand why we would black out civic addresses on your report. But I'm trying to figure out, maybe it's here and I can't see it. Is there any way to get a breakdown by which area it is? Like, is it Erie, is it Dickens, is it Sabine, is it?
No, not really, not without revealing the addresses and the roll numbers.
Okay,
And staff have been collecting, anything we collect township wide. We don't try to differentiate between the wards because operationally we have no need to look at the wards. We look at the township as one.
well, it'd just be interesting to see. I'm assuming, maybe I'm making an assumption here, most of these are in Whitney area.
There's a considerable amount are in Erie. There's probably a lot more on Inland Lake than I
Yeah.
know as well, but yeah, Inland Lake's fairly busy.
We can tell by the PID number what ward they're
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, I just not black there.
Okay, just a question.
No.
Thank
Oh,
you.
no, it's not, yeah.
No,
So the PID number, yes, would show. Indication.
Okay, I think I can figure it.
1 is Erie, 2 is Dickens, 3 is Lyle, 4 is Richardson, 5 is somebody.
Bye.
Okay, thank you.
And I think in the minor variance for Steiner, a question come up regarding the switch. I've pulled that applicant or that the original installation and use permit. It was installed in 1989.
Nice.
It's only a 2,700 liter tank. The minimum right now, according to the Ontario Building Code, is 3,600 liter. It's a 20 meter bed, which probably I'm going to suggest, or I guess really imply that they need to install a new sanitary sewer system that meets current today's standards.
That's the one we did today.
Just for the one build, or the existing one is okay for their new build, but not?
In 1989 it was, but by today's standards, the tank is undersized. The bed may be okay at a 20-meter bed. But with the additional loading, they'll need to install a new on-site sewer system.
The fact is, they probably don't use it year round, but that doesn't come into the mix, does it? No. I know that's what they'll come back with, but
It is a very enormous.
One of their
The only
neighbors,
sanitary sewage flow inside the septic.
Yeah.
one of their neighbors, probably about the same age of septic system, had to upgrade their septic as well because of being undersized.
okay.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Well, undersized wouldn't come into effect until you apply for a building permit.
That's right, unless you do any more development, which
Yeah.
then for you, should be look at the on-site sewer system.
Plus, according to the site plan, it looked like it was right in their way for doing anything as well, so.
So part of that adjustment then will include the septic, which is my.
Pretty hard to find a level spot there to put a septic
Yes,
system.
that was a condition.
Yeah.
So,
They may have to go vertical as opposed to horizontal.
yeah, typically, in a lot of places like that, where you have difference in elevations, you end up having to put in a pump chamber to the tank
Yeah.
and then a bit.
Yeah, we had to put one in a couple of years ago.
All good. I mean, what we're asking of you, Mike, is that we have updates, maybe not every month, but at least every other month.
Yeah.
Reports like this, so
Brian,
so we understand what's going on. I know from my people say to me, oh, what are is someone building over there? And I don't know, and I'm totally unaware of what's going on without these style of reports, so thank you for that.
And also what are your recommendations as well too, because there may be things that as council, we don't see or know about and.
I'm only a phone call away.
Yes.
Yeah, if you ever get any inquiries, just point them our way and we
Yeah.
can definitely assist them if anybody's wondering who's got permits, who hasn't.
Yeah, I don't even think they're questioning permits, they're just nosy.
Oh,
But yeah, okay, thank
They're
you.
a watchdog.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you.
Mike, you're gonna stay around for the one report, right?
Sure.
Okay, and we move on to unfinished business, which has come up a couple of times, is the thoughts on a deputy mayor. It was brought about, I think, from our emergency management scenario where a deputy mayor should be in place. We've thrown it around the table a couple of times, and I think this time is due for us to seriously think about it and possibly do proposal and election. Can I pass that over to you, Mr.
Yeah,
Martin,
so our
please?
last meeting, council passed the requisite bylaw to create the position of deputy mayor on council. And now it's now up to council as to, do you wish to fill that position? And if you do, through appointment, then you can do nominations however you wish in an election. But as I sent out to everybody, one member of council had asked about secret ballots. We can't have a secret ballot on it, so you just need to decide if you want to move forward with a deputy mayor's position at this time. And we will bring, if there is a recommendation and an agreement, we'll bring forward a resolution to the next meeting.
The question of payment and remuneration for a deputy mayor was something that we discussed when we brought this up before. This would not be a remuneration across the 12 months of the year or for the term, but only when the deputy mayor has to fulfill the mayoral duties. Is that what I understand? And then they would be remunerated at the same as the mayor's rates if they are fulfilling that role? Is that as I understand?
Sense to me.
Okay, I think that clears up some queries people have put forward about it. oh, it's gonna cost another 100 grand for putting deputy mayor in, or all manner of stupidity going on there, so
If that's the case, I'm gonna give up my spot as mayor and run for deputy mayor for 100,000.
well, you could do both.
For 100,000.
Okay, but, oh, you
That's it.
you don't want to do both, okay. Can I have consensus of opinion? Are we all in favour of deputy mayor? Can I have a show of hands who is in favour of a deputy mayor? Okay, that is pretty unanimous. How do we want to go about this? Do we want to put nominations forward? And those nominations appear on a ballot sheet and we pick number one, number two? Or what's a better way of dealing with this? I'm a little unsure of the right way to deal with this.
I mean, a lot of times, simply, somebody nominating somebody and,
Go from there.
taking a nomination, maybe maybe there's only one person on council that would be willing to even take it. Right? And see if you've got one nomination, two nominations, and then you can have a vote on who you wish. I mean, it can't be a secret ballot. So creating a ballot would be difficult.
Okay,
Can we do this right here now?
Yeah,
I will,
absolutely.
I will take the lead on this. I nominate Joe and Joan. So that's councillor Florence and councillor Kuyak. I have two nominations there.
We can have two nominations and have 6 nominations if you want.
To you, councillor Florence?
I'm interested in the position
Okay,
and I would accept the nomination.
okay. Councillor Kuyak?
I was going to nominate Joe. He's the one that has the knowledge. And let's be realistic, this is about emergency management. And then if other things crop up. But I will decline my nomination and
Okay,
nominate Joe.
Joe,
Nominate Joe.
Joe. Oh, well, I don't,
That looks.
so we don't even have to
We'll
go
bring
through a
forward-
vote.
We'll bring forward a resolution to the next
And he's
meeting
accepted it, so
for
it's
that
great.
appointment.
That was easy, wasn't it?
Very good.
Okay, thank you.
you know, I have a question about deputy mayor strong powers.
No.
Do not go there.
I will tell you implicitly, the powers of the strong mayor do not transfer to the deputy mayor at all, even in the absence of the mayor. So even if we had to have a by-election because Ethel decided she was gonna move off to Toronto and never come back, that appointed person taking on that role would not have the strong mayor powers. They must be elected.
Thanks for the clarification. I was only joking in the beginning.
That's okay.
but Thank you.
I spent way too much time on that subject of late, you might say.
Oh, I'm sure you've got your earful.
I've got some flow charts if you'd like to see them.
No.
Decision-making tree.
So then we have a resolution to go forward? Yes?
Next,
For
June
For June's council meeting, thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
And we have a number of items here. I'm not sure they're HR, but they are definitely PR, some of these. New business, good vibration proposal. You have, can we pull that up onto the board there for people to see, please? Thank you.
Stephanie was going to be here today, but unfortunately she had a commitment come up, so she was unable to attend, but said that she would answer any questions. If anybody had any that couldn't be answered. Staff, Mike and I did go over the proposal and asked staff, we had questions that we sent to Stephanie in regards to this of where do you propose the gray water to be disposed of, the potable water, where it's coming from, if it's going to be stationary or permanent, and insurance for liability for the township, inspection for fire depression, health inspections, which they would come in to it. Electricity, where's that gonna come from, and washroom facilities.
Effect on
So-
traffic,
Pardon?
effect on traffic
The effect
patterns.
on traffic could
Are we
be.
putting playground equipment back there?
We are.
That's what I thought, cause it's all leveled off and.
Yes,
So those are the zoning of that, the community facility zoning. It's not a commercial zone. So those are issues that Mike and I was brought up between the two of us when we were thinking about this situation. So that's where our thoughts are. I don't know.
Did
Has-
we get an answer from, I mean, I'm concerned, electricity can be a generator, that doesn't have to be an issue. But fresh water would be something that you'd be bringing in wherever you're gonna hitch up to. The grey water could be contained and disposed of,
Where?
where we designate.
Mike, that's a whole other
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a.
issue that
That's,
Mike.
that's a whole other back to the on-site sewage system, and if you're taking an additional 300 gallons of gray water and pouring it down your bathroom tub drain, you're increasing your daily sanitary sewage flow to your existing septic, and is it able to maintain environmental health, accepting the additional fluid?
Okay, so we got no answers back from Stephanie.
She did come back and say that she had some, the septic would be pumped at her, disposed of at her own house, the gray water, and that's like where Mike is coming from. That's a whole other issue. There's a few things that she wants to work, is thinking about, but she also said that as for this year, is not gonna proceed with it this year. But she still wanted it to come to the table because she would like to maybe investigate a little further for next year.
so she's not doing it this year?
Not this year.
No.
The problem also is if it was on anybody else's private property running a commercial business, they would have to go through a zoning bylaw amendment process.
Go ahead, Naylor Valley.
I'm, my concern is, and it's certainly not to try to, disencourage people, but we have one, two, I think three things that we have to look at here. My concern is I think we have to look at the Renfrew County Health Unit. Because they have restrictions
They do.
that we have to follow. And I don't know whether this has been sent to them or whether we have to send it to them.
No, she needs to get an approval, like any kitchen, we have one at Lester Smith, one at Madawaska Community Center. Both of those are annually inspected and approved by the Renfrew County Health Unit. And these types of facilities have to also get certifications from the county health unit. And in order to do so, they'll have a checklist of items that she'll need to comply with. And should she comply with all of those items, she would get a sign off. If she doesn't comply with all of those items, then they wouldn't give her a certification to be able to do it. She also has to go and I believe get her safe food handling course, which is something the county health manages. It has nothing to do with us. So there's several tick boxes that if she wants to look at, I think her starting point is to contact Renfrew County Health Unit and see what she needs to meet their objectives. And then the question is gonna come back to us, are we gonna allow supply of water from our facility? Are we gonna open the doors so that we have bathroom facilities available to her customers? Yeah, there's a lot of questions about where do we go from here, but I think her starting point, I would suggest, would be the Renfrew County Health Unit. And she's saying she's not doing it this year, so she's got this year to really think about what she needs and then come back to us with an actual ask, and council can then reconsider whatever comes back to them at that point.
So this would have to be in place wherever she decides to put this, even if it's on a private piece of property, yes?
Yes, and on private property, as Tracy mentioned, if it's not zoned to allow, you would have to do a zoning bylaw, or they would have to do a zoning bylaw
But
amendment.
if it was commercial anyway,
If it was commercial, yes. And
okay,
either way, she would still need the Renfrew County District Health Unit's approval. She would need an inspection and approval of her fire suppression system.
Yeah.
Yearly, and like, as Brian mentioned, the safe food handling.
Wherever.
She already operated last year, I think near the end of this season, she was
Can I
done
ask
here in
why?
town, so she already went through the complete the help unit process, so she's aware of that. I think we need to look at what are we going to require as a township for her to be able to, if she's permitted to put it on the
We're
Lester
actually
Smith
liable.
building. Is there fairness up there to other
Anything that happens.
businesses?
There's conversations
I
going.
know, I see that.
Councillor Kuyak.
I just really have a problem. You know, we're trying to promote business and small business, da, 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 da. And yes, I realize that her request is asking just to park this. We shouldn't have to police the fact that she has, you know, safe food handling, or that she meets with the Redford County Public Health. I mean, that's not our job. Our job is to make sure that
But-
she complies with
but-
whatever our zoning. and
But the issue is on our property, if she doesn't have that stuff from the county, we could be potentially liable if somebody gets sick eating there. So I would not recommend without her, if it was on your property, that would be up to her, but I would not recommend anything like that being done on municipal property without ensuring I'm mitigating our risk, right? I mean, council can override that, but I certainly wouldn't recommend it as a senior staff member.
I just can't see us just because somebody's parked on our property and selling their own things, that we would be liable if something. should
Absolutely.
happen.
Joint and several liability on municipal property, and guess who's got the deep pockets? We do.
Which is unfortunate, because it is a great idea.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't want to discourage small
I'm
business,
not,
right?
and I'm not discouraging it. There's a way to do these things, but you need to follow all of the rules and make sure that you've got everything in place and then bring back a plan. We don't even have a facility plan for bathrooms. What is she gonna do for bathrooms? What is she doing for water?
There's
Because she's gonna need
outhouses.
water to clean, because she can't keep sanitary without hot and cold running water.
She did indicate she was gonna bring that from home.
So,
I mean, I know where she was parked last year, and at the most, she would have had hydrant where she was parked. Everything else would have been.
There was actually a permit taken out by the previous owners when they had their ice cream truck taken there
Right.
for a gray water and leaching pit.
So there was a bed there.
There is, yeah.
She was okay there. It's unfortunate that, yeah.
Yeah, but, we want to encourage business, absolutely.
I think
On
I,
township property, I've got my reservations, right, towards that idea. I know that there is a village down the highway that is highly in need of something, because there's absolutely nothing down there, and that's where
I agree,
that's where I,
Algonquin
myself
Outfitters
personally.
would be an excellent location if she could work out some kind of a deal with Algonquin Outfitters to lease a piece of their property. They'd have ample parking there as well, and it'd be.
You talking about across from the store and I want.
Yes, yes.
It's not Algonquin Outfitters, it's Algonquin
Algonquin
Bank,
Algonquin Bound.
Yeah.
different company.
Yeah.
Or,
I know.
or if they're not gonna bring the restaurant or cafe up attached to the store itself, maybe they would be happy to get some sort of rent off of her to actually pitch up there at the fuel station.
I spoke to a person that works there. I didn't speak to the owner himself. In Madawaska regarding that restaurant
Yes.
/ kitchen. And they said they'd be willing to be open for anybody that would want to rent that part of the building. So,
So she
just-
wouldn't be in a truck, she would be in a proper facility.
so yeah, that's just food for thought. So I'm throwing ideas out here.
So going forward with somebody that is putting up a proposal because of lack of places to put a food truck. Can we move ahead so that we aren't just saying, sorry, you can't do it? Like, there has to be some kind of policies or a process in which we as a council says, well, here are the things you have to meet to good to go. Because you know, it's unfortunate for her for this year, but that doesn't mean that we're not gonna have another request, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, maybe we could be prepared.
And
What needs to happen.
And maybe that's a good idea, Joan, we could create a guidance policy for any of
Something.
these things that come forward in the future, so there's tick boxes that they need to meet before it even comes to council for consideration.
And I would assume she needs a vendor's permit if she, you know, has all those things in line and. You know, that means that she has ticked all her boxes,
They
so.
generally call them transient traders
Trader.
permits.
I mean, should we really be redirecting her to private property and not on township property is what you're advising, isn't it? That we don't
Well, I mean, there's
actually.
just certain things that if she's gonna do it on our property that we're gonna need that maybe private individuals may not look for. In the same fashion, we're gonna look for insurance that's gonna name us as being, you know, dismissed of any potential liability associated with it. We're gonna look for certain things that a private business may or may not be entertaining or worried about. They may already have washroom facilities that are open while they would be operating their business. So there are some benefits potentially, and it's money that might help support that business to ensure that that business continues to operate, where if they're paying us, it's helping us as our community as taxpayers, not needing to pay us that money, but at the same time, maybe that's the difference between a business being open and closing.
Yes. So I think a redirection of this would be a better option than actually going through all of legislation to be on township property. That's as I see it. There's enough private commercial businesses where this could be placed.
I think in fairness to her, she's tried private places.
She has.
That's my
Okay.
understanding. Maybe Joan can
I
clarify.
believe so. I
Yeah.
think she's looked at other areas in which she could set up, so. I mean, and again, you know, she's saying probably not this year, but we should work towards something. She's not gonna be the only person that comes and.
We have to decide as a township
Yeah.
whether we're prepared to let people
Allow
come
them.
on the township property. That, I think, is the overriding question.
Right.
And the processes that has to follow if and when
Right.
we decide that.
So I know during COVID, Huntsville, a lot of the restaurants closed down. They had all these chefs that went out and bought street trucks and sold their wares. So how did they manage that?
Mobile units, which were not placed anywhere, they parked along the streets.
Yeah,
They got transient trader vendor permits from the city of Huntsville. And they were there for 4 hours and they drove off. They drove from location to location, right?
Pembroke had the one fry truck down at I said Canadian Tire, but that's not right, Giant Tire, that was there for years. I mean, it's stationary there for years.
Private property.
How do you know that? You're either guessing.
No, Giant Tiger parking lot is private property. I know where it is. There was one in Eganville for years that used to be
Yes.
parked at the liquor store. Again,
Yeah.
provincial property had nothing to do with the municipality.
So I think there's ways in which we as could help, is all I'm saying, and maybe.
Explaining to her where we're
Right.
looking at this, it's not that we don't want to support the person, we just gotta do it right.
And also, if council wants to direct staff, we'll add to radar, developing a guidance policy on these types of activities to ensure that there's something brought forward to council, and we'll work on that so that if she comes back next year looking, there'll be some guidance given to staff and that's been directed by council.
I think I would feel better that we were actually being proactive instead of reactive, so I would suggest that.
Hey, councillor Clark?
One of the councillors brought up that we couldn't do business on township property, and that's absolutely wrong. We just passed 2 bylaws to an agreement with the EV charging stations on township property. So we do business with private corporations on township property. One of the advantages of sitting at this table for over 20 years is I have a long memory, and up at the Memorial Park, the reason that there's hydro outlet on that post there is because we had chip trucks up there before. And we run into trouble with liability. And that's why at that time, council had decided that they weren't going to allow chip truck, for a lack of a better phrase for it, on township property. It's probably 15 years ago or more,
Yes,
likely more than that.
remember,
Uh,
what was the liability?
same things, same concerns as today. I think there was some mischief went on in that location at that time. And some property damage. I'm just saying that, you know, we've been here before. This is not the first application that ever came to council for that type of business on township property. It's a different location. And a few councilors have mentioned sanitary stations, for lack of a better word, but I see chip trucks all over the place, and I don't see washroom facilities at any of them.
I was thinking of the one in Barry's Bay, just by the rail station. It's been there forever. I don't. know
Yeah,
whether
there's
it's private
several,
or
but I've
No,
never
there's no
seen.
public washrooms in Barrows Bay.
No,
There's not even an outhouse around.
no.
So, like, I agree, like, this application is probably not ready to be presented to council yet because of the conditions and everything involved with it. With agencies that are out of our hands, like the health department. But we have to be very careful when we apply a rule that we're not contravening something that we've already decided the opposite on.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, thank you. So yes, I think it would be good to have a list, but if we decide as a council that not on township property, then it's not down to us to produce a list either. I would love to see some sort of food outlet, someone that would be open, possibly better hours, accessibility, and something maybe for our people who are charging their vehicle to go and get some fries or what have you. So I think it would be good, but I think if we take out the issue of, what am I trying to say? Let's remove township property from a location and see if some of the private properties who are already commercial would be prepared. But maybe she's already gone there and not prepared to pay enough rent, or the facilities were wrong, or what have you. But
We have one fry truck in town now.
Yes,
We also have, the local restaurant in town now is open till 7 every day. Which is good news. I'm not sure what the hours are of the other restaurant. I know it's now open. I don't know whether it's just weekends or during the week, but so we do have, and the other thing I think we have to think about, and it may not happen, but if we did use our township property and we passed all the rules and regulations, which we have a lot of, do we now have the commercial outlets that's paying us commercial taxes saying why we're allowing fry trucks on township property when we're selling
I
french fries,
think,
hamburgers in a restaurant? I don't know, I'm throwing that out as part of the whole scheme of things, I guess.
okay, it would be good to have something the other end of town for sure. Okay. Anyone else got anything additional to say regarding vibrations? So our recommendation is to get back to her and say, council has decided not on municipal property.
What would happen if she put it on Crown land?
Well, it'll probably take about 7 years for them to respond, and I don't know.
We're doing, I just think we're doing the community a disservice if we do not have something. To sit there and say, no, you're not doing this. Well, that's just like saying every other little vendor that wants to sit down at a corner saying, sorry, you can't, you're on township property. So I think we're doing a disservice. Like I said, instead of being you know, we're being reactive instead of being proactive. Can we not look at this and see if it, nobody, we're all just making assumptions. Nobody has given us any kind of facts in regards to any of the, discussion that we've just had. I mean, Brian is saying yes, from a liability standpoint. You're telling us all about the zoning and the water and everything else that needs to be done. But let's face it, we all know everything is workable. We just haven't looked at that. And I know I'm probably the only one that's sitting here, and it's not because of just this one person. I'm just saying it's everybody that's our community. And instead of being reactive, let's be proactive. Let's look at things and get our ducks in a row so that when anybody comes, not if her or I decide I want to put something up, that we have everything in order. And then we can make a logical, educated decision.
You're talking long-term planning. That's
Well,
that's the other thing, right?
Yeah,
Because where are we gonna start putting it? Like, people are gonna come and say, I want to put it over here, I want to put it, like, does that fit into a plan as far as the municipality goes?
We'll just have one designated spot, and if it's taken, then can't do it.
I mean, I was made aware that, you know, one person was set up underneath the gazebo this past weekend selling the wares. And it was like, well, does that mean anybody can set up there? You know, what does that mean? It's like, well, I can't even answer you that because I don't think we have any policies anywhere, right? And as long as, I don't know, as long as he wants or she wants, then let it be done. Who am I to say that that can happen or not happen? Anyway, so it's not just Stephanie. There are other people out there. I know Kim is here. She's gonna wanna talk about, market and what does that mean? So it's a bigger picture than just one fry truck setting up there for 6 months.
We,
However long.
we have approached, or we have been approached with regards to a market. And we got into the same situation with regards to safe handling of foods and the keeping and the temperatures of control for foods. If this is all on township property again, if it's on private property that it's pitched up on, then I don't believe the same legislation is put in place.
Again, I think that's just sort of odd. But
Yes, I agree. I agree with you.
Again, I think we're just making assumptions and we're not dealing with facts. That's just me though, so.
We did have the health unit involved with regards to the market. And there was issues with regards to anything that could potentially have to go in a fridge to be sold. So pies and cream-based cakes and various other items of that nature. And it ended up that we only had the market run for a couple of weeks, I believe.
Well, there's private places that could, I think they have or may apply to be able to put the market on and not.
Yes.
Or, you know,
Yeah, like a kilo, they do the market out there and it's on a permanent spot.
yeah.
Yes.
So going back to response to Stephanie, staff direction.
At this point in time, where the township is seeking a guidance policy to guide us in the future, I think is what we're
Yes.
doing at
But at present
the
time,
present time, and that, you know,
township property is not permissible at present time.
Okay.
I think is the kindest thing, and we must look into this for the future.
Okay.
And I hear what you're saying, Councillor Kuyak, we should be proactive and it's part of economic development. These things start out small and could become the place to go, is that particular food concession or what have you. I know people travel to certain food concessions because they like what they're selling, and I've heard that before too. Okay, on to the second issue of new business there. Cheeky Mama's Baking Company, the kitchen use proposal. Can anyone speak to that, Tracy? You've heard from,
Yeah, so Nadia.
From Nadia?
Sent the correspondence and she's with us.
She's sitting with us here.
Hi, Nadia.
I didn't see you creep in there, Nadia, sorry.
So, she's requesting, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's just the use of the kitchen only. To be set up and, so she can go in there and teach baking and do some stuff like that. I've included in their kitchen rental comparables, just so the committee knows what is required of other townships in order to rent just the kitchen, and the insurances that come with it. So.
I personally think it's very enterprising, and I think to be known as somewhere with cooking classes, I think would be an excellent addition to the township personally. Whether or not it would be cost prohibitive, so what are we talking about? Maybe 2 or 3 hours for the use of our kitchen. What do we think is a reasonable amount of money? And do we have to put a limit on the numbers? But presumably, Nadia, you would limit the number of people signing up for the class anyway, wouldn't you?
I could really only do a maximum of 8.
8 people plus
Based on
yourself.
the space, yeah, based on the space and then also based on the oven space.
Yes,
And
okay.
then I would also have to limit the number based on the recipe I wanted to do. So if there was like a cooktop situation, I can't have all 8 people around open flame. Right, like because it's an open flame.
Yes.
To the gas oven, so I have to be very, very diligent about understanding that. This wouldn't be the first time that I've offered cooking classes.
I know you've done a couple of bits and pieces.
On a volunteer basis, but
with
I've also
children.
done it in other, townships as well. So I have a lot of experience with that kind of stuff. So it's not my first
So Nadia, you're proposing only 2 hours in there or like a half day, like which?
Not two, it would
Two
be
would
a
do it?
2-hour cooking class is what I'm looking for.
But presumably you would need to go in to do some prep beforehand
Half an hour.
and some clear up afterwards. So,
Yes, I would do it.
so we're talking probably at least 3 hours.
Oh, yeah, that would be fair.
Sure. What would we think is a reasonable charge for the kitchen or a facility?
We have a chart of fees.
What,
Yeah, it's 85.
It's $85 currently.
She's.
Okay.
Like Dorset, they charge $20.80 an hour. So that would be like your,
but that's for the hall, isn't it, with the kitchen?
just kitchen.
Just the kitchen?
One of the problems associated with the kitchen in our building is that you have to travel through the community hall to get to the kitchen.
Yes.
So even if the renter is cleaning up the kitchen, our staff still has to come in to, even if there's no cleanup to do, he has to look at it and make sure there's nothing before the next rental. And the washrooms, so I don't know, and the use of, and the propane use, so I'm not sure if $40 would cover our costs.
And I just also want to note that the rest of the building would be off limits as well, because you have to walk through the hall. So it's not like we could rent just the kitchen and rent the hall as well. So that's something.
And obviously the washrooms need to be available if someone's going to be there a couple of hours. You can't send them out to the outhouse at the far end of the ball field, yeah.
I think 85 might be too much, but I don't know if 40 is enough.
We have the library there too, so that's open, so they're using the facilities, the bathroom facilities,
It
so.
would be open at the same time.
Well, and that's fine, but I'm just saying that you, from a staff perspective, they have to go down there anyways and look to make sure that the bathrooms are clean. So-
Another point too is that I also do this as a volunteer basis, right? So nobody makes any money off of a rental or off of me doing a class either. Right? So it's for the exact same use I'm offering to pay. right?
How often would you be holding your classes?
Once or twice a month.
Once or twice a month?
I think it would be wonderful. And I know a number of people, and I'm sending my husband along, Nadia, and you do know that, don't you? Yeah.
What time of day would this be, not even mid-afternoon or?
It would be, I would have to look to see whenever like a hall would be available, but that is whatever else, that would be a thing. I would look at probably. That's the thing, I wanna play around with it, like, I'm not 100% sure, so, because I'd like to capture not only our residents, but also, you know, people who might be at the park, or staying, you know, wherever. So, maybe like early afternoon, maybe some evening. I'd have to play around to see what would be the best, time of day.
So can we make a recommendation around the table, somewhere between the two of 40 and 85? Because presumably you'd be using the plates and the knives and the facilities within the kitchen. You won't be bringing all your own stuff, will you?
I actually would be bringing in my stuff,
You would.
yes.
I would make a proposal for $50. For 2 hours.
And Nadia, you would ensure that everything was cleaned up when you left or something like that
Oh,
too, so then that would save Adam from having to go in the kitchen and.
Let's initially go with 50, and if we feel that covers propane, heat in the winter, cooling, well, the hall's being cooled anyway, so it's not any additional. Is everybody happy with that?
I'm good with it. I'm good.
Nadia, do you think 50?
The thing is that it comes back to, what the cost for each participant would be, right? So if I
Yes.
want to make it accessible, so right now, as I volunteer, I'm charging $5 per person who, takes the class, right? And that nominally, it doesn't even cover, expenses at all, but that's through the recreation committee. That's that business, and that's not an issue.
$50 cover.
So if I were to do a class, so the higher the rental, the more expensive I would have. It's a business.
And you provide all of the ingredients. Okay.
So, yeah, whatever the cost is, I would have to make sure that it's worth my time, essentially, right? And I will also let you know that I've had some opportunities in like Barry's Bay. There's some facility, Obielgo Senior Center, as well as, keep on, I keep on calling the ANAF, it's not the ANF, the Legion. Yeah, they offered, their kitchens at 40. And sorry, the Legion was 40 and the Obielgo was 35. So I could take it there, like, and this is not I'm not doing, this is not a caveat, this is just, I'm just saying I could bring it there. And offer it at a lower rate. Also have a bigger catch-all of clientele, because it's a bigger center. But I would like to support Madawaska, and then the other thing is, I think that this opens it up to other residents who might want to have some ideas about how to, you know, maybe they want to do some things in the kitchen, or just lower rental costs in general. I don't know, just thinking. Again, it goes back to economic development in my brain.
But it comes down to dollars and cents too, Nadia. If we have to pay our custodian, even 1 hour to come and make sure that there's nothing that he has to do.
Yep.
It's gonna cost us like $30.
Yes, no, I understand that, but then there's also
And then-
a lot of times that the hall is being used and there is zero charge. There's
Yeah.
a lot of volunteer, the seniors, like the seniors activities that happen, right? I'm just saying,
But you're doing this as a business.
correct,
You have to make money.
yes,
We can't lose money.
absolutely,
There's no sense of us renting it at all if we're gonna lose money every time.
right. Right,
Just at the end of the day, that you basically want to cover
the propane being used for the stoves, etc.
And the custodian's cost. The maintenance.
Right, if
If she's there on the
Any at
days,
all,
yeah,
sure.
the days that Adam's down there, which is what, Wednesday.
The library's open Wednesday, Thursday and Saturday, so he would have to clean those facilities on days that would correspond with ensuring that they were clean when they were open.
If it was rented on the day that the library is open, that would certainly cut our cost down.
Absolutely, because Adam's going down there anyway to do the cleaning. But if we're adding days for Adam to make a special trip there, if he's coming from Whitney, you know, he's gonna be 40 minutes return without even looking at anything, so he's gonna lose at least an hour, and that's without cleaning anything.
So I would propose that if you have your class on Wednesdays or Thursdays, I would be willing to go with the $40.
I think that's very brief. And if it's at any other time, then it goes up to 50. If that's,
What about if the hall, or sorry, if the library is open on a Saturday, would that be a reasonable request as well?
I think so.
Yeah.
Except our custodian normally doesn't work, he doesn't
No,
clean up.
well, he would open it, he would clean before it reopens again, right? So he'd be back in at the start of the
Yeah,
week to
I
clean.
think any day that the library is open works for me.
Or do you want to do it, because I don't know if Adam was down there that day to check it. Did you want us to touch base with Adam and see what best days he's down there and then go from there? Would that be?
The library's open Wednesday, Thursday and Saturday anyway, so even
Does
if
he
he's,
go down there?
but even if he's not there, there's
He
no
would go the
additional
next
burden on the bathroom facilities, right?
That's
He's not gonna have to go in and clean them.
That's right.
yeah. I'm very happy for that to go ahead if it's when the library's open anyway. Your thoughts, Laurie?
Sure. Yeah.
Sean?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, no, I don't want to deter anybody from
John?
enterprising like that.
I think the $20 is reasonable, and I think. And again, I don't know how Adam does his planning, but I would assume that if the hall is rented, he sort of knows that that's next day he's gonna have to go and clean, pick up.
Well, at least before the next rent.
Right, so I mean, I think it as well, instead of saying, oh, it's a set day. Adam is gonna have to play with his schedule to figure it out. But you're right, and I think that's great, but it does, again. It does open up other doors, I guess, or other things that we should be looking at in that. I won't go into that.
So you meant $20 an hour, like the
Yes.
40?
Yeah.
For 2 hours.
$20 an hour is reasonable to me.
So there's tax on these too, so.
How do we go from 40 to 20?
An hour, 20 an hour,
$40 for 2 hours.
40 for the 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're all in.
No, she threw me too.
Okay, so I'll have to bring a resolution back to June meeting to approve the $20 an hour plus HST. For.
Thank you, and thank you, Nadia. I think it's a wonderful thing that you're doing. As I say, signing up for the whole lot.
Ian is your first customer. Ian is your first customer.
Because it's renting, the liability and everything is covered, right? We don't have to worry about that.
We always do. Anything that occurs in our facilities,
I know.
and that's why if you notice, the other municipalities look for indemnity
Yeah.
through an insurance disclosure, right? So I mean, that's totally council's decision.
No, we have to do that.
But certainly in indemnity liability, indemnifying municipalities and saving them harmless is something that's very, very predominant in anything and everything we do today.
Well, I think we have to follow our own rules and regulations. I mean, I think, Nadia, you'd understand that, but you're not like. You're sure you
I'm
have
just-
insurance.
I'm just saying because it's a business coming in and renting, that she would have to make sure that she.
All she'd have to do is have
all of her
us
things.
named as an additional insured on her existing policy. And that would be all that would be required.
Great.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
This is really, this should be in economic development. This is not in HR. It's, okay, Whitney Outpost Market request. the next item on our agenda here for new business. Would you like to speak to us about that?
Sure, I'm asking for permission to host the market, in the park across from Mad Musher this year. The reason is because there are a lot of new vendors coming this year that, the market has grown substantially. And, I don't want to bear that, limitation on the parking lot over at Mad Musher. It also limits the amount of time we're able to be there. Because, Steve opens his restaurant and, having the market in his parking lot, limits how long we can be there. Because it takes up his parking space. So I'm looking to have a market, I'm asking for permission to have the market across the street. For this season. Yeah, we have 14 new vendors already signed up, to be at the market. And everybody is getting kind of anxious because the first market is coming up the first Sunday. So it's the market has changed a little bit. I'm looking to have it one Sunday a month, the first Sunday of every month. So it's not every weekend. I make sure that we're there when it's over, make sure it's all cleaned up, there's no mess. I have looked at different layouts to accommodate all of the vendors. I've moved it to once a month so that they have more flexibility on not being required to be there every weekend because it does take up your whole summer. Yeah, do you have any questions for me?
Designated parking is my only thing here to make sure that the ramp for the dry hydrant and the drafting in the event of the fire department needing access removes a lot of that parking area there that would potentially be used. So I think you need to just be cognizant of where people park.
100%. People shouldn't be parking where they're not permitted to park.
Okay.
So for me, it shouldn't have an impact on emergency situations. Ideally, people are, parking in the parking lot or along the side of the road as permitted and getting their stuff and going on their way.
Yeah, they're not going to be there for a long length of time.
Well, it depends on how many people we have shown up at the market.
True.
But there is substantial different types of vendors this year. So there's a lot of new stuff that hasn't been there. Like this past season, I was part of the market. So it'll be a nice variety. And so I'm hoping it will encourage more of the community members to come out and take a look. But I haven't done, there's the Whitney Outpost Market page on Facebook. It is a private group, but everybody who's asking for it can join. I haven't done much advertising on it yet because I don't have a location secured. But the vendors are super excited and they're starting to ask. So I'm getting a lot of text messages and phone calls, and so I'm hoping to have some kind of answer for them today. And I know, one of the main concerns is the cenotaph. So I have looked at the setup to make sure that we're not blocking it. Access is still available for that kind of stuff. So
what's the situation with regards to garbage? Because wherever you get a lot of people, you get a lot of garbage. Do you provide the bins and the bags and the market?
Honestly, Counselor, I have not seen any issue with garbage
Okay.
last year at the market at all, and we've had up to 20 vendors last year at one time. But like I said, any issue with cleanup or I will personally take care of.
Okay.
I'm
a big environmentalist. And so, leave it better than it was when you got there.
Does anyone else have any questions? What do we feel about this?
I want to encourage it. Should have been an economic development meeting rather than a human resource meeting, but
Yeah, I'm just stealing your thunder here, you know.
yeah, no, absolutely. I don't want to discourage that. So what if, okay, you outgrow that location?
So this year, I have a vendor sign up. So I've set it up, you have to sign up and you can pick the specific date you are committing to being there. So I will have a better idea on how many vendors I will have for each date. This year is kind of like a test out because I've been asked to take over organizing the market. My long-term goal is to have a permanent location with little structures that can be moved. But that is for that's an economic development thing. But this year, everybody's responsible for their own tables, chairs, tents. And the maximum size is a 10 by 10. So this way we can accommodate a quite large group in that area without being too worried.
I think that in 2021, they had the vendors market there. And then it was moved after that to the Musher. I think 21 was the first year I was here, and I think that's the year they had it at the Cenotaph that year.
Yeah.
And the only thing I'd say from a municipal perspective that you'll need, we get calls all the time from Renfrew County Health Unit wanting to know when and where the markets are. Because if you're serving food, they have to make sure everything's being kept cold, everything's being served at temperature. So you may want to just advise the Renfrew County Health Unit that there is going to be a market and the date of the market.
Most of the people at our market aren't selling food.
But if you have even one, they have to be aware of it.
Yeah.
Right, so even if one vendor shows up selling food, it has to be kept cold, it has to be heated to the proper temperatures. And the county health unit's been very good from my own experiences with them at working with vendors to ensure that they're doing things right. And they haven't been heavy-handed with the vendors themselves, but they like to spot check. They'll come out and just walk around the market and they'll see if there's 3 vendors selling food. They'll go and talk to them and make sure they're doing things the right way.
And I have checked with those that are selling food and they all have their certificates from Renfrew County Health.
Yeah, she'll still send somebody out to make sure that they've got their stuff in ice packs and that they've got stuff heated to the right temperature. Their burgers aren't gonna, come off the plate cold. So that's.
No, it's not food like that. It's mostly baked goods. Like Nadia is one of our vendors who signed up. Jake is another one. So those are ones where you actually, according to municipal law, you don't actually need to have Renfrew County Health check based on the ingredients that you're using. Nadia is a little bit different because she's a registered business, but yeah, I've done all my research. So I will give them a call and let them know once.
That's all. I just advise them and what types of businesses will be there. They may come out anyway and they may not come out at all, but.
Yeah, I don't think they came out last year at all, actually.
Yeah, and some of the markets they pop in at, but
Yeah.
then they may feel the distance and everything else is not warranted to come out here, which is fine, right? But at least to just make it, because they do call us and ask us annually, do you have any markets happening in your community?
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any questions here?
I think it's a great idea. I think what might happen, maybe I'm wrong, is you'll have people parking over at the Musher anyways. To
Very
walk over to the market. I just be leery of that, I guess, if there's a concern from the owner of the Musher. So I think that will happen. People are driving, see a market and just pull over anywhere.
And the daycare, it's closed anyway on Sundays, so.
Yeah.
I encourage people to go to the Musher for something to eat. Happened before. Steve opens up and concurrence with the market, right? Good for business. Yeah, no, I'm all for it, for sure.
So the consensus I'm getting is that I'll do a resolution up to allow the market to go to the Clear Lake Park. Correct?
Have we had any concerns brought back to this council in the past about the Seneca itself when that things are happening in there? I'm trying to remember, I think we did. But,
I think there was a litter issue
yeah,
with the flower beds, but if you're taking care of that, then that's one.
I think there was an issue in that, it was, the view was being blocked of the cenotaph, maybe.
is that what it was? I know, I just remember something about the cenotaph. The protection of the cenotaph, so. But I'm sure you're well aware of that and.
Well, as she mentioned, she's gonna make sure that it's not blocked, so.
Yeah.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
So we
Thank you.
have a market now we can advertise.
Yes.
That's fantastic. All things to bring people here. That's what it's all about. Okay, on to the next issue we've got here. The Opiongo Snowbirds grant application.
So this one's been brought forward to committee. My authorization in the grant program for funding is up to $500. So I have approved, this is the 5th application I have for $500 grants this year. I've already told staff that I'm prepared to fund this application in the amount of $500. They've asked for 1,000. So I've used my allotment of my grant budget for this year with the agencies that have applied. But if council wishes to extend that to 1,000, we'll prepare a resolution for the next meeting for the additional $500 above my approval limit on that grant.
That would leave no money available for anybody else?
There is no money at this time. The 500 with as it is now is depleting the entire budget that we've allocated this year of $2,500. So that grant program will be exhausted for the year.
Already.
Yes.
I think we are all knowledgeable and we know enough that Madawaska Bridge is very, very important and very attractive for the snowmobile and the ATV use, which brings people into the township. So we do know how important that bridge is, and the snowmobile, Opiongo Snowbirds is a really very small club. And they're crying for money. Unfortunately, the main snowmobile organization doesn't give enough money because that's the lay of the land. I think to try and support our businesses, we need to keep the RAP tour open, which is the Round Algonquin Park. And that is very, very prominent snowmobile item that they like to advertise. And I think it helps our businesses in the winter time, most definitely keep alive. And because of the RAP tour, and the RAP tour is very dependent on this bridge being enough maintained that the groomer can go across and it can be groomed. My personal opinion is we should help them a little more than our grant, but I'll throw that open to everyone else on council. I'm only one of 7. What does everybody else think?
I agree. I think we can find the extra $500 somewhere. And support that and keep the trails open between the two communities.
I have a question.
This is for the bridge at Madawaska. Not.
Have you approached any business owners? Towards donations, towards what your need is?
So we do have the advertising signboards that we have that we ask businesses last year just due to economic development in how the economy's going, that we dropped a lot of businesses just because they can't afford, to support through our sign advertising. So just an idea that our signboards are, I believe it's $50 to $75 a sign for them to go up and put up wherever they want around our nine boards around the area. We also had reached out when we had the Rapid Lake Bridge as well. Businesses did give us some money there as well. The other organizations, just this last week, actually, I reached out to the RCATV Club, for an emergency funding to fill out a washout just outside of Whitney. So they gave us $4,500 to repair that washout. So money is coming from other places where it's hard. We're also this is just as of yesterday, is that now we're gonna have to be insuring culverts through the Ministry of Natural Resources when we go and repair and replace culverts. So our insurance is now going to go up because of those as well. So it's just, we do get, Sandra, maybe to just address that, VOFSC, they do have internal grant programs for us to apply for, but seeing as there's, I believe it's 16 districts that apply for funding, it is very hard for, one club to ask for, $30,000 or $40,000, for example, for culverts that we have to go replace. And we apply for it, but we may or may not get it. So we're going through that process right now. There's up to $200,000 that's available. But again, we have, 16 other districts to go up
to
against.
compete with, yeah. I know, as I say, the Raptor is known throughout of Ontario. I know when we owned the business at All Star, I would say a good majority of our people coming and staying were doing the Raptor. It's the one to do, that sort of thing. So it is known and it does bring people in, or it has done in the past. As I say.
It also helps us put our money elsewhere. Like we also have another, and Joe, I'm sure you're familiar with this, is the 5-foot diameter culvert that is washed out on the middle of the beach trail right now. That we have to detour to get people around. So,
Trail is
East of Burant Road on the middle line. Between Burant Road and the trail to Spectacle Lake.
Gotcha.
It's flooded there, isn't it? Quite badly.
pictures.
I'm prepared to do the $1,000, but I again going to reiterate this. I believe the bridge that right down from Whitney here, the first bridge that washed out, was done by volunteers and was never recognized. And so I really believe that if we're supporting the Upper Younger Snowbirds, which we are, and it's important, that we have to also consider that bridge too. And if we have another washout down there, because part of it was done and nothing really happened until it burnt. It was done by volunteers. There was gravel and everything put in there.
As well.
Pardon?
We're also volunteers as well.
I understand that. I understand that, and I appreciate that, and I'm
The
not,
people that repaired that washout at that time also required that access to get to their residents or cottages in that area as well. So,
there's another road. Anyway,
Yes,
that's beside the point. All I'm saying is, yes, we will support it. On my, as a member of this council, I will support the $1,000. But I'm also letting council know that we have, that bridge has to be considered if it washes out again.
which it was
Vehicle, for use.
very, it's actually not supposed to be on the vehicles, but you can't stop vehicles from using it. Because it is friendly.
I'm not cross debating this, Lee. I'm making a call, which I have the right to do. So,
Thank you, Melody. Councillor Fisher? You're okay with us upping the 500 that we have budgeted, adding another 500 to it? Councillor Rudnick?
where are we getting the 500? What are we taking it from? May I ask?
We'll have to take it out of one of our other line items. I mean, because the budget is fully expended at 2,500. So this will put it up to 3,000 for the year. So we're gonna have to find another line item to pull the money out of, and that's staff will just have to manage it.
Thoughts?
I just think this system is flawed,
Yes,
totally.
and it has been for many, many years.
And, it's just one of those things where all these trails are all, I mean, I'm not a snowmobiler myself, but I mean, everything's all tied in and some are doing well, or some are surviving, but other ones seem to be.
Always struggling.
Yeah, and there again, it's part of, who's got deeper pockets, us or the Ministry of Natural Resources?
They don't care to fund the projects because they don't use them. So unless they're used for active logging roads is the only reason why they would, repair them.
Yeah,
Just,
that's what I'm saying, that's what's going on, and I don't believe that's right. That's
Yeah.
not, it shouldn't be that way. I mean, they're trying to promote people using trails and using our natural resources. And I think that's where the pressure has to go, is on the
It's a
provincial government.
It's a multi-use trail as well, that's
But anyways,
I'm a strong believer in user pays. If you use a system, you pay for the system. So OFSC should be financing all the repairs on all the trails.
but they ride on top of the trail with snow and they make their trails off of snow. ATV riders will come through and they create, like, I'm sorry, I have to ride both sides here, because I do both. But that creates, when you go through deep puddles or, you have trucks that go through in the spring when they're not dried up. They create ruts, they create, we have downpours that we have. It's not just snowmobilers, it's everyone. The EOTA has decided that they're not gonna be, funding our trail systems right now until we have a proper trail maintenance program with them. And they have put substantial amount of money into our trail systems. So there's so many different organizations. You have the EOTA, you have, the OFSC, you have the RCATV, the OFATV, who's responsible for it? And again, we come down to Crown Land. The OFSC is the only ones that are a government-run, entity. Their money comes from, their user pay systems and the trails get maintained that way, but we can't, whose responsibility is it to fix things? And it's not fair to, speaking for everyone, that one entity is responsible for fixing it. The snowbirds need it for the groomers to go over, whereas ATVs, they can essentially bypass it, they can do whatever they want. But it's just, how do we make it so that everyone is paying towards it?
Well, I don't,
yeah, I think everybody should.
every user pays for it. The average taxpayer in our township doesn't use that trail at all, ever, winter or summer.
But they don't pay for it because
You're asking them to pay for it right now. You're asking for $1,000.
we also have the bridge. So if the bridge just went, we would be responsible as the snowbirds for dismantling that bridge, and the bridge would be no longer.
Which means you wouldn't be able to operate maybe.
We could bypass, but, it's just it was just more speaking to that, every person that uses that trail should be responsible for, maintaining it. If we can't force the RS or the RCATV club to put money into it, we can't force, the snowbirds to go into it, but.
But there should be a partnership between the OFSC and the trail riders, whatever the association be. Is there
Yep,
provincial?
and that's what we're trying to do, but there's so many clubs that come to a T. So we've actually been, working with Saba as well, is to try to get all of these people to come together to kind of, spread the money out where it is.
Well,
If we can have your word that you are still actively trying to bring money in from other places as well. And as I say, consensus seems to be that we will up the grants on just this one occasion to the extra 500. But it will be a one-off and it will be a normal grant process on from here. That was the consensus I got from council, am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Leah, and we hope that helps.
What about a toll booth?
Do you know, Councillor Florence just said that to me, yeah. A toll booth to go across the bridge, yeah.
The same as the firefighters have a boot drive, you know, it's voluntary, but, you know, if you had a boot drive at the end of the bridge saying it costs us X
Donation.
amount of dollars every year to insure this bridge.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know, I wouldn't want to be the one standing there with my hand out.
No.
Again, volunteers again.
Right there in Madawaska on one side of the bridge.
People would just go around it.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, yes. But snowmobilers don't particularly want to go down the road, and we don't want to encourage them going down Highway 60 either. So, yeah, it's just a fun thought. Okay, let's move on to Resource Centre verbal update, please.
Yeah, so, as everybody knows, we've been working with a couple of parties, trying to fill the resource center. I'm happy to announce that I've been working with Cameron Bullock, from Angelic. Angelic is going to be taking over, the occupancy of the Post Street property. We all know that DSAB's employee is, leaving, that they're no longer going to be responsible for employment services, so Angelic is taking over employment services. They will have 2 full-time employees working out of our Post Street office, where DSAB only had 1 part-time employee working out of that office. DSAB is scaling back over the next 2 months. Angelic will take over as of the 1st of July. But DSAB is going to be subletting the property to Angelic for days which they do not use it for their own staff at the moment. I'm not sure, I think they might be down to 1 day a week, is it, from 1 day a week till the end of June? So they're going to proceed with taking their staffing should be starting, I would think, in the not so distant future. And we'll see 1.5 new positions within the community as a result of it.
So can I just inquire, along with obviously the heat and the light, do they have internet services thrown into their rental as well or
They're
not?
actually responsible.
They're
for
responsible for it.
heat and hydro and their internet services. The lease will be coming forward to the 4th of June's meeting
Thank
for
you.
council approval.
That's where I was going with that.
We did work very hard to make this happen. And the rental is below market, as was with DSAB, in order to ensure that we could secure their services in our community. And as a result of that, it doesn't appear that they're currently planning to open a Barry's Bay office. They may service it from here.
Okay, which is all good.
What is Angelic?
Angelic they're the contractor that's taken over employment services through Service Ontario.
Okay.
that was the one we brought forward, you might not remember 2 or 3 months ago, saying that we were entering discussions with them. And they're actually
Yeah.
on our screen at one point.
I just on Tuesday afternoon got the signed lease back from Cameron. So I'll bring forward the signed lease from their perspective to council for ratification at our meeting in June.
Their office is out of Brooks Falls, but
I think we get an awful lot of bashing from the community about all the things that we don't do. And I think we are not very active or proactive about letting everybody know the good things that happen in these chambers and the good things that happen around this table. I think we ought to be through social media, because that seems to be a way forward. Let people know what we're doing and all the plus points that are happening. And this is most definitely a very big plus point. And again, the market and the cooking services and all the things that we're bringing up here, we don't let the general public know about all these good things. Can we be a little bit more proactive on our Facebook page and maybe on a media page or something? And I know we're having an economic development person being advertised for, and it will be their role to do that. But it just seems we don't let people know what's going on, all the good stuff.
Well, I think part of that though is there's a lot of stuff like the Angelic coming here required them to negotiate a lease. And we needed to get, so until we had we agreed to lease something, they couldn't announce they were coming here with staff. So now Angelica, I anticipate very shortly will come out with an announcement that they're opening their
Wonderful.
office. We will share that announcement.
Okay,
It was much like the $2 million that was received for fiber optic internet in South Algonquin. We spent a lot of time working on getting the details done, and we couldn't just announce that money, and part of that was because the province was in caretaker mode because of an election. But now we're well on our way to having fiber optic internet, so we announced that as soon as we were able. But there's a lot of work gets done in the background before we can actually bring it forward for public consumption.
I'm very aware of all of that, but we've got to do a bit of a rah-rah for the township and what we do
I
here.
agree with you.
People say, oh, you haven't done anything, what do you do? And it's all negative and all the taxes are going up, etc. Always the negative and never any of the positive coming to the forefront, so.
And there will also be a formal announcement coming in the very near future from McRae's Mill.
Excellent.
On the project that they've been working
Excellent.
on down there.
Excellent. I mean, this meeting is PR as well, and PR is important, how people perceive us.
If you were part of the hospital, the first thing you did was you called the reporter to come in.
Yes.
And do an interview, and you were in the paper, so there is something to be said about anything, you know, whether or not we all, you know, what we did today, if there was something that concrete, etc., like this Angelic, you would have that reporter come, take pictures, do a quick article, and it doesn't take a lot, but you have to take the time, right?
You have to follow procedure, because like Brian said, we can't say anything until.
Absolutely.
Sure. I'm fully cognizant of all of that.
All the Ts are crossed. and
Yeah.
dot the Is are
But
dotted.
then we need to celebrate. We
Yeah.
need to celebrate the good stuff.
Madam Chair, I believe there was a comment.
Sorry,
That's okay. I think a communal calendar would do wonders. So that you have all of the events in one spot. Because there's so many things. The seniors do it, the rec committee, the township. Like there's so many activities going on, and it allows us to coordinate between the two villages, what they're doing, what they're, like the school activities, so we can fill up the calendar and everybody knows what's happening, where and when.
That was a recommendation within the tourism and economic development plan, and that's going to be coming.
Yeah,
wonderful, wonderful.
it's on our list.
Excellent, excellent, thank you. And as I say, another bit of good news here. Last one on our new business, meeting retention timeline.
Yes, so that is focused on our specifically, all of the paperwork and all of the things we do have specific timelines that we maintain them in a retention bylaw. The one thing that we don't have any retention requirements on at the moment that I need to understand whether council wishes to have or not is all of our digital meetings. So they're not our official transcript of the meeting. The official transcript of our meeting is our minutes. But we have meetings on Zoom, on YouTube, that date back to the inception of the use of YouTube by this council during COVID. So do we keep those in perpetuity? I don't know at some point whether there'll be storage issues with whether we'll get, they'll start to make changes to that. But at the moment, some municipalities are maintaining them for a couple of weeks or a month. Other municipalities are keeping them forever. So I'm just looking to get some guidance. Do we continue keeping them forever? Or should we be considering adding to our retention bylaw requirement to delete them after a certain number of days, weeks, months, or years?
An hour.
Can I come to this? The reason that we agreed to our recording and our broadcasting of our meetings was when we initially went from evening meetings to daytime meetings. And there was a lot of discussion within the community saying, if it's evening meetings, we can attend, we can sit there, we can hear what's going on. And so when we went to daytime meetings, we said, okay, we will record them, and then you can listen to them accordingly. But at no time did we ever say we will keep them forever. So you can go back over and pick up on any words that have been said or something that's been said at that meeting years down the line. That was never the reason why we did the recording. So my personal opinion is they do not need to be kept. As you quite rightly said, the minutes are out there if anybody wants to go back to refresh their mind. From the point of minute taking, do you need the recordings for any length of time so that you can make sure that the minutes are written up, or are you pretty much on the ball and they're written up the same day?
Just our notes. Of course, I don't
Yes.
take as many notes as I used to because I know I can go back and listen to them, but I do the minutes. My minutes are pretty much drafted. As soon as I go into that office right now, I'll have them done.
So the same day?
So if I pretty much have them the same day or the next day.
Okay. So we have a decision to make here. Do we want to keep the recordings for any length of time? Or can we literally have them for the day that they're recorded and at midnight that night, they're gone?
It really doesn't matter, because the individual that's viewing it could save it.
Themselves?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
For their
could,
own use.
they could do that for their own personal use, yes.
I don't know how much it's gonna help.
I think once the minutes of the meeting are in draft form and posted on the website, I don't know if you,
We don't post drafted minutes on.
so that you would be doing a month, basically, when it gets back to council for,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, basically, once the meetings are completed, like Tracy said, by the end of today or tomorrow, she'll have all the minutes done from today. Those minutes then will be brought forward to the next committee meeting a month from now for approval. So if council wants to maintain them that long, we can certainly maintain the,
Actually, it'll only be a couple weeks because the next meeting's in June and they'll go
That's
on
right.
the package, so.
that's right, the Glen June's package for approval.
Well, I've put proposals to not broadcast them at all before, so you know where my feelings are.
Do you think that we should be broadcasting them, have them available for the day, and at midnight that night, then they're not there?
Be fine with me.
Yeah. Your thoughts? Anybody else?
I stepped away for a moment. Are we talking about all meetings?
All meetings, do they need to be kept? Or should the minutes just reflect what happened in the meeting and they're not out there for in perpetuity?
Legally, the minutes are the record of the
Mm.
meeting. We're not a provincial or federal government that requires, the province is required to keep the Hansard, which is a transcription of everything that's said. We're not required to do that. We're to keep the decisions and recommendations of council, and that's what's in the minutes. That's it. That's all. None of the banter. The only thing that might show up in there is if there's a recorded vote, who voted against something or who voted in favor of it.
What I explained was when we first went for the recording of our minutes was when we went from nighttime meetings to daytime meetings. And there are people that are saying if they are working during a normal working day, they then did not have access to council meetings and committee meetings to come along and listen in like these people are here today. So we recorded them for their entertainment or listening or interest later on that day. But do we have a need to keep them beyond that?
Well, I've always been an advocate for transparency. Right now, I had to second think. Or revise my thinking, I guess would be better said. As to having them on YouTube. I myself personally right now, I think that is hindering the speed of the way we're able to proceed. So, yeah. My view of that is now is that I'd rather not even have that in the room, but. To hang on to that, once the official minutes are released, I think that's the length of time that needs to be held on to.
Until the minutes are written up, which Tracy says she does in the same day.
But technically, they're not approved until the following meeting.
No, but we would not be going back to the YouTube, would we?
What do you mean?
When we approve the
Yeah, but
minutes.
until such times, I mean, right now, we're producing the YouTube video, right? The minutes don't become official, or am I wrong?
Until the next meeting.
Till the next meeting.
Until the meeting.
So you basically, I mean, if I were gonna do anything, I'd go from when we did the meeting to those minutes became official.
Which they do at a council meeting, right?
That's right. That could be a month down the road.
Well, then at the end of that time, you do that.
But we didn't record at all 5 years ago.
No, I know.
Okay, so we have a decision. Laurie, your thoughts?
I understand both points, actually.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
we,
the reality is too, that other, if somebody really wants to keep the minutes, they can save their own copy forever if they want.
yes, they can.
So,
Yeah.
but then they've got a reasonable amount of time. Nobody can accuse us of not providing something for a reasonable amount of time.
And I realize there's a reason why we don't put the draft minutes up, but could we be putting the draft minutes up? Basically awaiting approval of the next committee?
Council directs it, we
So
can
if
do
you do
so.
that, then basically if you're throwing the draft, then it's like you don't 24 hours.
Staff are
to take it
pretty
down.
good at managing the minutes. We've been doing them between us quite a few years,
Yeah.
so as a result of that, there's very rare occasion, there's amendment to minutes.
But that would come up at a council meeting when
Exactly.
just occasionally we amend the minutes
That's
before we
right.
approve them anyway. So
I mean, if council wishes to publish the draft minutes, and we can create PDFs with draft watermarks on them and publish them as draft from the previous meeting once they've been completed, so that doesn't take a lot of effort.
and then if anybody wanted to save them, then they can save them themselves for their own personal use. But they're not out there in the public forum for everyone to dive in and see what we can find fault with South Algonquin Council today. That's my thoughts.
I think we have to be very careful how we craft this, to be honest.
Yes,
Because we're
I
going to
agree.
end up at the integrity commissioner one way or the other in my assumption, no matter what we do. So I think we can go around this again. I agree with everybody's comments here, but and we've talked to people about this, and there's pros and cons. Some say they don't keep them at all. Some say they don't YouTube them. They YouTube their council meetings and that's it. So for me, I want to know from the township point of view, and we're relying on Brian and Tracy here, and that's great. But what legally can we do? What can we not do? Because for me, there's no sense in us passing a resolution and then finding out a month later, we violated our own rules. That's my concern.
Well, the discussion at FNOM was that we don't have to record or broadcast anything at all. People have the opportunity to come in the room and listen to the council meeting.
Yeah.
As I say, and we
That
only
was one
started.
person, telling us that, which is. I
Well, it
think,
happened to be
great.
the head at AMO.
Yeah, I know it was, but, we can't, take that as verbatim. Because maybe, we end up in court again, or what, the integrity commissioner, that would get thrown out, that's all I'm saying, Joe.
The only reason we started recording was to help people out because of changing the meeting times from evenings to
Okay.
during the day.
That's good to have the history. I didn't know when. you could
That
have
was the
it.
reason for doing it.
And there is no requirement for us to record them. There is no requirement for them to be broadcast. Many municipalities in Northern Ontario don't have access to high-speed internet, and as a result, their meetings are either in chambers or you're not. But I mean, we're going to continue with the Zoom, we're continuing with YouTube. The question is whether or not we retain that record and how long we retain it, because it's not the record of the council meeting. It's the he said, she said of the meeting. The record of the council meeting officially and legally by the province of Ontario is our minutes. And that's our meetings.
So, but if I may, it goes to, your comment about we shouldn't have it at all, but really, we are still going to have it. You're saying.
We're gonna continue, yes, we're gonna continue with Zoom, so those people who wish to watch it during the day because they can't make it into chambers, they can do that.
For how long?
And they can sit at home and enjoy their YouTube. The question is, when do we delete those records?
That's right, so. when
How
do we
long,
re-
how long do I wait? Do I wait until the minutes are done? Do I wait until the year is done? That's all we're looking for, some guidance on how long we should retain that record.
As soon as the meeting's over, as far as I'm concerned now, and get tired of the micro analysis.
My thoughts are to help staff, just in case they've missed something or they've had to step out until the draft minutes are done. And at that point, they're taken down. And that might be
Which is normally,
the end of the
day
day,
and a
or
half.
it might have to be the next morning for some
Yeah.
unforeseen reason.
depending how long council meeting goes.
Well, yes, and,
today I don't know if I'm gonna get 3 of them done by 4.
but
I have
as
to be
soon
in
as,
Barry's Bay by 2 o'clock, so.
as soon as you've got them done,
Yeah.
and they're available, can
24
we,
hours.
do we want to broadcast the draft minutes?
Sure,
Or
I
not.
don't- I have no problem with that.
Me neither.
That would be something that the draft minutes are made available.
So as soon as I put the draft minutes online, we can delete the YouTube.
I think that is a reasonable thing to say, but I'm only one of 7.
Kind of a constellation.
Show of hands here. That's everyone in favor of that. So that's,
We'll take that
What we'll
direction
do.
and move forward with it.
thank you. We have another meeting, so we will adjourn this one and I'm gonna call a wellness break. So we will adjourn, can I have a proposer to adjourn this meeting at midday? Okay,
Second
that's,
Vidoc and Maryland Valley.
Yeah.
Okay.
wellness break for 5 minutes? Thank you.
You're on.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Economic Tourism Development meeting. I think I said that backwards, but it is our meeting. And the meeting is beginning at 12:10 PM. Can I get a roll call?
Mayor Valley.
Here,
Councillor Collins.
Here.
Councillor Warren.
Here,
Councillor Griak.
Here.
Barney Baker.
Here.
Councillor Pizza.
Here.
Councillor Rodnick.
For a little while.
Councillor Sinat.
Here.
This might be very short.
It is gonna be short. Okay, do we have any additions or amendments to the agenda?
No.
No, okay. No, okay. Can I get an adoption of the agenda?
I'll make,
Councillor Thuyak and Councillor Rodnick?
I didn't look up.
Both Bill and I were.
Does anybody have a disclosure of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Unfinished business? Okay, we have none? Because we,
Not at the moment.
not at the moment, we will, I'm sure. Okay, new business. So this is the recommendation of the additional members of the Tourism Economic Development Committee. We put some of these names forward at the past meeting. This time we are going to confirm them. And then this motion is going to be passed over to council, I believe. June 4th. June 4th, okay, to council for acceptance. So the recommendations are, sitting in our gallery is Kim Gorman, representing the Algonquin. We had Nadia, who was here earlier, going to represent the Madawaska area, and also Leah Gettys on this committee.
who does Leah represent?
Leah is going to be, she's going to be representing Madawaska as well, too. So now we're gonna put this to a vote to accept this or reject these recommended additional members. I think Leah is gonna be, I think she'll be an asset. At least I hope that she's gonna be an asset. As for Kim, she's very vibrant in this community. And so is Nadia Pruitt. So, I think this is gonna be a good working committee.
I think this diversifies a little bit away just from accommodations. So I think we have, obviously Leah, is very much into ATVing and snowmobiles and links with the club, which is another part of our economic development within this area. And Nadia has brought forward a completely concept of cooking and food, etc. And the markets here, even today, have been brought forward by these people. I fully endorse these people.
They're energetic.
My concern is that some of your recommended members have spent the last several years criticizing everything that the township does. And now they would have to work for the township instead of against the township.
How about with?
Pardon me?
With.
Oh, I'm sorry, I should have said with. I didn't mean to.
In stereo twice. Sorry, Joe.
I see your point, but I also think that education is a must, right? So people always just assume that they know what and how things are done and run. But they don't, obviously, and, education.
I think you're right.
So I think this is gonna be,
must.
this is gonna be a big eye opener. I'm sure that Barney's sitting on some of our meetings, as he has been. It has been an eye opener for you, how the process works, right?
Yes, indeed.
As frustrating as it can be at times, right? But the process is the process, so that's where we're at. And as well, you, Barney, you represent multiple businesses in South Algonquin.
Many hats.
Okay, so you're representing a large number of people as well too, with ideas, so I think our table's pretty full. So,
I just wanted to share Councillor Florence concerns too. I too feel any any member that's on any committee for this township, I don't think should be out bad mouthing the township. I don't think that helps. I don't think that prospers us. I don't think that helps economic development. We are not all perfect, but we're not always all wrong either. So I think we have to kind of balance the good with some of the concerns. I think in going forward, that if somebody has a concern, bring it to staff, bring it to the council members. It doesn't need to be put on YouTube or wherever. That's my concern. Any committee I've sat on, and I've sat on a few, you're gonna have differences, and that's acceptable, and that's part of growing. But I think you do it in a, you know, if you're concerned, at the end of the day, there's a vote taken. And you have an obligation to follow what that vote was. Whether you have to bite your tongue 50 times or not. We do that because you're working us alongside and with an organization. So I'm just saying, putting that out on the table, that we have to be respectful. Yes, you have a right to have your concerns, and your concerns should be addressed one way or the other. So I just want to follow up on that.
yeah, thank you.
I hear you, heard that many times. And for me, and for the service I have provided, it comes much deeper to the fact that it's freedom of speech. We fought for it, we protect it diligently. Yes, you can talk all you want about federal government, and yet you fight and support it. Same with the provincial government. You can criticize all you want, freedom of speech, but you support it. And it's the same here at this level. You can criticize respectfully, but when it comes down to it, you live here and you support it. And that's where we are. Yes, there will be people who are always saying something. It's inevitable. Nobody's perfect. Council's not perfect, nothing's perfect. And so, yes, you will get words here and there. But on the whole, they will fight and support it. And that's what's here. And now we're in the process of providing 3 other people to help fight and support this township. Have they said things? Hey, absolutely, everyone has. But they're here to support the council and this township.
Unfortunately, there seems to be a lot more negativity about the township than positivity being spread around to the people that maybe don't know all of the facts all of the time.
And that goes back to what you said earlier about teaching people what you haven't done.
Yes, I think that is so important.
And that I'm 100% right on. People don't know what you've done. And there are different forms and methods to provide that information, not specifically education, but at least inform them what is here. It's amazing. They just don't know. And one of mentioned Zion.
get a page.
Mhm.
There's different methods to do it. I'll just say, yes, I support you, go ahead and do it, any way you can. The people need to know what you've done.
I would, I would go ahead and recommend those three. I'd be okay with that. Put a motion forward.
Bill?
Everyone have anything to say?
I have faith, yeah, sure.
You have faith? Thank you. I have faith.
I'm okay.
And
Yeah, I think so.
okay, all right, so we're gonna put the recommendations forward to council at the June meeting. Perfect. Now, upcoming initiatives, there's a lot of talk about trails. And recreation, and I think one of our first initiatives that we should be tackling is finishing up what was started with previous council over at the Trestle Fair. And pushing for the continuance of that trail into Algonquin Park. If we can.
I have a meeting at 2 o'clock specifically about that.
Well, there we go, so there's the beginning.
Next, because we know that Mr. Swift, as of the start of the month, is no longer there, so I'm meeting with him and his replacement at 2 o'clock, so that's on our agenda.
It's a number of years now that they've been saying, oh, well, there's some issues with some wetland, we'll try and get around to it. They've been going round and round and avoiding it for quite a number of years now, it's not just months.
But I think John and I have agreed to a way to manage the issue, so I just want to ensure that direction is transferring from the current management to future management, so that we can ensure that we have somebody and something to follow up on.
I think that's very exciting. The potential of that happening, I think is very exciting. And the businesses in very, very exciting.
They make portage trails all through the park.
Yes, yes.
So,
Well, they just finished a new bridge at Rock Lake, rehabbing it last year, and so that's part of the whole tying everything together from Rock Lake down.
That would be awesome.
Councilor Florent. What is left to do with the trail in Madawaska?
Everything.
Trails.
Everything. It's only been brushed with our brusher head on our excavator. Because the timeline, winter didn't end before
March 31st.
Before the season started, that we can't work in that area between April 15th and August 15th. Because of fish spawning and even though we're not in the water, we're near the water table. So work will commence sometime after August 15th.
After August 15th.
So none of it essentially has been done, other than the
Brushing. So what are the chances of stuff regrowing in that time frame? Probably.
Well, they're going to grub that top layer off anyway and apply gravel base. So it really won't matter much whether the brush is that high or that high.
Yeah.
It's just the main part of the brush is already mulched still.
Okay.
That was done last fall.
So now what can this committee do to help?
Other than bring it up a couple times to ensure that the works department gets on it in a timely fashion. Before there's 2 feet of snow on it again. We have to work around the schedule of the other projects as well. Yeah.
Sorry, Councillor Flor, you said after the 15th of August, they can get back in there?
That's what Stephen said. Now, I'm just quoting Stephen on that. I didn't check on the actual timeline in the agreement with Ministry of Natural Resources. The agreement was received, I think, last summer, late summer, early fall. It was signed by MNRF. And the work season was in that agreement. I'm absolutely positive that April the 15th was the deadline in the spring, and I think I heard from Stephen that it was August the 15th.
All right, thank you. And the reason why I'm asking is because how we're going to tie everything together, with the EV charging station, and I see a footbridge. I honestly do see a footbridge. There,
Yeah, well, unless we can get somebody else to fund it. 'Cause I think we did get a quote, wasn't it $250,000 or something like that?
Initially, we got that quote. I mean, I asked and was trying to push very hard when they spoke about the bridge being rerouted, that they could do that and that would help them out. But it seemed to fall on deaf ears with regards to that footbridge, but it would be superb to have that in, but it has to be an accessible bridge. It's not just a footbridge. Unfortunately, it has to have ramps either end for obvious reasons.
It certainly would tie our two recreational areas together.
together, yes, absolutely. So,
I don't know whether or not we can speak to Charlene and see if there's any grant for recreational walking activity, that sort of thing that might become available.
There are all kinds of walking trails in tourist communities in Northern Ontario, and I think I remember seeing FedNor signs on almost every one of them, that the funding was through FedNor.
It would make a circuit bridge, wouldn't it?
Yes, I will.
thank you. Thanks.
I'll be right behind you, Bill.
Okay.
So
So
maybe,
those are two of the projects that I can foresee us working on. And I spoke briefly with Bernie concerning the QR codes that. We did allow, or we gave Sava the go-ahead to put QR codes on our signage, correct?
Last council gave them approval by resolution, if I'm not wrong, and they've never had them placed there. It wasn't our responsibility to place them, it was theirs.
There is QR codes on those wayfinding signs, isn't it?
Is that's what they came and asked us, and I assumed it had been done.
The sign that's in the parking area that's going to be destroyed by the bridge construction, I think has a QR code on it.
For Sabbath? Because
I'm not sure who it's for. It may be for the township.
I think,
No.
because I think the resolution said, with our permission of the location or something like that. I have to pull the
I
resolution.
remember some of the discussion.
Yeah, I do know there was a resolution passed by council to approve it. But I don't recall anything ever coming back to me, at least. After that.
So if that's something that you don't.
It doesn't take up very much room on the sign
Yeah.
at all.
can we ask, or could Charlene be approached to see if there's any potential grant out there for that walking trail extension with a bridge? I mean, it would require the property owner who has a small boathouse to talk about heights of that bridge, because the lower it is, obviously the cheaper it needs, or it would be.
Well, it has
If
to
he
be
only
elevated on the north side anyway.
But there is a step down. If you look at it, it's not the height of the rail trail. It's lower than that. There is a definitive shelf below that, but it all depends the height.
That was the original rail bed.
It was,
Yeah.
right. But it all depends the height that the property owner, if he's only putting a small pontoon boat under it or a small fishing boat, which I think is all he can probably put in there because of the depth of the water.
There's not much there.
Then the lower it is, obviously, the less money.
So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm envisioning. I'm just passing my vision on to other people, so you could say yay or nay or wasting my time, right? So, okay. So once we get our full committee together, then we're gonna start pushing some of these initiatives. Right?
Are you proposing on meeting once a month, every other week, or what's your timelines?
It will have to be, when's our June, what is our next
June
meeting?
18th. June 18th.
I have a committee of adjustment and asset management that day.
On the 18th.
18th.
So that's a pretty full day then.
It would be like today.
Could be just a quick update from you as to the progress on the initiatives.
Okay, are we okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so next.
It puts a little bit of, acceleration on things.
Mhm.
I would suggest that people come with their tourist economic development plan, strategic plan, and the goals that they had outlined, or the areas in which we could work on, and say, hey, can we work on a couple small things, get those through. Yes, I was gonna say it, but I didn't want to sound stereotypical.
Things that move a lot quicker once there's somebody to focus on them.
Mhm. Okay. Absolutely. Okay, good. So the 18th then. All right. That's the next meeting. Can I get a call for adjournment? Motion Mayor LaValle.
That's twice you got shut down.
And who's the second?
Sanders.
And Councillor Collins. Or Joe.
12:35 PM, everybody's in agreement?
Oh, yeah.